that you succeed and reach your potential.
Everyone's goal is the same, to make the best products that we can for our clients and make sure that it is everything and more that it could be.
What's kept me here? Our culture. We're genuinely a very great group of people. Everyone's just always willing to lend a hand.
When I have a suggestion or a concern and I voice it, leadership actually hears me.
As a consultancy, every person has a role and has something to bring to the table. There's just a lot of opportunities here if you're up for the challenge.
Jump on board, be part of the fun ride, because we're going places.
Can't get to a computer? Then we've got you covered. Just go to the IndianaSRN app and stay up to date with all of your favorite teams. You can watch live coverage or relive the experience with our on-demand service.
You're good at making big announcements. We're good at your insurance.
Start with Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, online, over the phone, or in person, and stop knocking on wood.
From warehousing to transportation and everything in between, Piper Logistics does it all. Centrally located, Piper Logistics has 2 warehouses in Indianapolis and a warehouse in Cincinnati, Ohio. Piper Logistics houses over 1 million square feet. Along with our transportation department, we can provide service to half the United States markets.
Aspen Creek Grill, we are a from-scratch concept with comfort fresh food. You can expect a world-class experience on a great budget. We've got incredible specials, great service. Today's dish that we're going to highlight is going to be our Aspen Blue Sirloin. It is, again, our premium Black Angus certified beef, and we top that with a blue cheese crust. Again, everything that we do here is made from scratch, and it's no different from our steaks. We hand cut all our steaks in-house. So our team back there, it's just an incredible team. Everything that they do, they take so much pride in. They put a little bit of themselves into everything that they do over here, especially since it is a made from scratch concept. We want everybody to come, visit us, enjoy some great food with some great service. Bring your friends, bring your family, come have some great food, have a great time with us with some of the best comfort scratch food.
Thinking about what to do after high school? Consider a career with Boilermakers Local 374. As a Boilermaker apprentice, you'll earn while you learn. We offer excellent wages and benefits, and as part of our no-cost hands-on apprenticeship program, you'll learn from the best in state-of-the-art training centers and on the job. Become a union Boilermaker and get on your way to a great career. Find out more, visit www.local374.org or call 219-845-1000.
Bertner Electric Incorporated provides professional commercial electrical contractor services to Indianapolis and surrounding communities. Locally owned and operated for over 30 years, our knowledge and experience make us the perfect choice for all your commercial electrical contractor needs. Contact us today.
Thanks to you. Indianapolis. You are truly making a difference in the lives of our neighbors in need.
Can't make it to the game? We've got your back. Just go to www.IndianaSRN.org and tune in to all of the live action, or go to our on-demand service and relive your favorite moments.
Sports fans, welcome back to Game Time, to pure spirits, to pure sports. Welcome back to high school sports.
Fans, I'm IHSAA Commissioner Paul Knighty, and I just want to say, welcome back.
This is Game Time. This is Indiana high school sports. This is your IHSAA.
Hey, Indiana, let's clear the air about vaping. Glue, rat poison, paint. We all know these products contain poisons like formaldehyde, arsenic, and lead. And these are just a few of the chemicals you'll find in e-cigarette vapor. Let's clear the air, Indiana. Don't puff this stuff. Visit don'tpuffthisstuff.com to join the fight and spread the word.
Calling officials cheaters or corrupt, it's not a game.
Insulting referees, it's not a game.
Threatening officials, it's not a game.
Berating young umpires, learning the ropes, it's not a game.
Violent language in the stands, it's not a game.
Verbal abuse from the sideline, it's not a game.
Screaming at a referee in the parking lot, it's not a game.
Welcome to Zionsville, Indiana for the annual showdown, which should be entertaining, between Heritage Christian and Covington Christian. Tonight's game sponsored by Morales Group, building better futures one story at a time. Aspen Creek Grill, why go anywhere else for delicious food? Bertner Electric, providing quality electrical services in central Indiana. Boilermaker 374, we're second to none in quality and performance. Clean slate, inspired innovation that moves business forward. And by Piper Logistics, from warehousing to transportation and everything in between. With Craig Cox, I'm Jim Barber. pleasure to bring you tonight's game, and if tonight's game resembles anything, Craig, like you've seen in the past, lots of points, lots of entertainment. And what's the reason for these two teams having so much explosion between each other?
Well, I'll tell you, I mean, in a lot of ways, these schools are built so much alike, but this carries over to the field as well. Both these coaches, and Coach Cottle with the Warriors and with the Eagles with Coach Ray, really have built their programs. Much longer history with Heritage as the Covenant, but I'll tell you, they've had some unbelievable games in the past, and we can't go too far back because last year it came down to the final play with Heritage winning.
Yeah, game that wound up in a scoop and score, and of course when you talk to the opposition about that, lost a lot of sleep over it that night, and probably many nights afterwards. You asked both coaches too, Craig, about why these games have had so many explosive plays, and they think that there's just a lot of skilled people on both sides of the field.
There is. I mean, there's been a lot of turnover, probably more for Heritage than there was for Covenant, but both these teams have lost a lot, probably more so with Covenant from 2 years ago. Heritage had a lot of loss from last year, especially on the offensive side of the ball, but a little bit on the defensive side as well. So there's, Coach Ray and his staff has really called upon a lot of guys to lead differently and to accept new roles. And I'll tell you, I had an opportunity to see these guys last week against Acena, played really well. And a lot of the younger guys are stepping up and making things very interesting there on 75th Street.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, I had an opportunity to see Covenant against North Putnam in a game which had fell behind early, huge, and then came by with a couple of later touchdowns to go and pull it out. But the explosiveness on their side of the ball offensively is not to be unnoticed. And I think tonight, with the perfect weather, we can see a lot of points as well.
No, you can. I'll tell you too, Jim. One of the most interesting things that you guys are going to see in your living rooms here tonight is one really neat parallel, which is kind of uncommon, even with the smaller schools, is both of these programs are starting quarterbacks that are both sophomores. How many opportunities do you have? A lot of times it's a 2-year window, maybe even only a 1. But for even a smaller school to be able to be in a position where a coach and his staff and the program can have a guy leading their teams for 3 years is kind of unprecedented.
Yeah, it's a good point. I almost feel like we're in the portal of college where guys keep transferring and everybody's a sophomore or a freshman. In fact, and to see these guys, particularly Cruz, the quarterbacks, on one side of the field tonight, and see how good they are at such a young age, it's pretty impressive.
No, it is. I mean, then this is a young man in Cruz coming off 6 touchdowns last week, 5 through the air and 1 with his feet. So what an unbelievable way that we're going to have some presence here tonight.
And the other side is Eli Nix, as you mentioned, another sophomore who throws a nice ball, accurate, catchable ball, says his head coach. So we don't look for a game that may have a lot of turnovers. We could look for a game that have a lot of points. Back with a pregame show as we set you up for Heritage and Covenant in a moment.
To you. Standing with us, you are truly making a difference in the lives of our neighbors in need.
Welcome back. Well, we mentioned they don't lack for entertainment. Neither team has significant injuries except when you take a look at Dodell and his health right now, and Jeremiah, because of back problems, for Covenant Christian to be on the shelf, and that is a major loss.
No, yeah, it is. I mean, he's a guy that certainly gives them a lot of power, really on both sides of the ball, but certainly from an offensive perspective in the ground attack. And both of these teams will need to find good balance through the air and on the ground. But I think, when you talk about the big play threats. I mean, both these quarterbacks we just talked about moments ago got great leadership and some youth there, but there's some big play guys, and Dowdell was one of those. And then on the Eagle side, Elijah Pimento, I mean, like I said, last week seeing him run, he was explosive last week, having over 200 yards on the ground and 3 touchdowns, along with getting another score through the air with 70 yards receiving. So these are 2 teams that can really strike quick and strike big, but I really look for who's going to establish the ground game and think ball control.
Well, you mentioned Elijah. Isn't it interesting? He is a former rugby player.
Yes.
Who did not come up through the ranks as a football star, but as a rugby standout, and they watched him in JV, and they said, this guy's got great potential in football, and he's a game wrecker.
He is. I mean, he's an explosive runner that you'll get ready to see here shortly. He's not a real big body, but for his size, he can do some good things, in the A-gaps in terms of getting some downhill runs. But he's a kid that's really explosive and shifty when he gets to the edge.
Kyle Ray, his head coach, says he's lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
You have a feeling if he gets Craig to the second line of defense, see you later.
Yeah, no, it is. And there again, we talked about Nix being a sophomore quarterback. This Pimento young man is young in itself. He's only a sophomore as well. So some great pieces there. And their other big strike attack, big play guy that can do things getting vertical on you is Andrew Sloan, who's also a sophomore. So Coach Ray really has some great weapons for the years to come, and certainly excited about bringing this one here to you tonight.
This is the first day and night of fall, and you can see the trees in the background. Just a beautiful, picturesque setting as the leaves are starting to change a bit. Temperature around 80 degrees. It's going to be like that all weekend long. The blast furnace that we had a couple of weeks ago is off, and we'll get into cooler temperatures as the week goes along. But for these guys who have sweated through a lot of that heat during camp, this has got to be I would think, a really nice way to continue the season.
No, absolutely. And tonight has a little special more ring for the Warriors. It's not only their home game, but it's also senior night. So these seniors, which is not real heavy, for Covenant, but a few to talk about there with these seniors is one in Nick Bartles, who's a transfer that came into to Covenant this year. Certainly a playing line on both sides that's getting some college looks. And then Landon Ross, who's the receiver, who's also getting some college interest as well, along with Carter Bell. Coach had talked about, Coach Cottle had indicated that Carter Bell was one of the few that did not miss any volunteer workout over the summer, and really has shown some great leadership, who's another senior as well and one of their leading receivers.
And back to Nick Bartles just for the moment. Western Michigan has already expressed an interest in him. That's the Mid-American Conference, whom I get a chance to see tomorrow with Ball State and Georgia Southern. So he's already on some radars, and that's a good way to go. And kid that can play both ways. Of course, you get to college. That's not likely to happen, but great physique, 6'5", 255, anchors the offensive line for Covenant Christian. So we're about ready. Let's take a break and come back with the opening kickoff between Heritage Christian and Covenant Christian.
Hey folks, good to be with you for tonight's game. My name is Andy Simpson, and I'm a licensed IHSAA football official, and welcome to Friday Night Football powered by IndianaSRN. On behalf of the 340 football officials, the IHSAA, the crew here at IndianaSRN, we hope you enjoyed tonight's game, and more important, don't forget to subscribe to the IndianaSRN YouTube page. As you're watching tonight's contest, I'm going to show you a few of our signals that will help you better understand the information we are trying to convey. Touchdown, safety, first down, holding or illegal use of hands, encroachment, or offsides commonly known, false start or illegal formation on the offense, or a free kick, scrimmage violation, face mask, intentional grounding, roughing the passer, clipping, illegal shift, illegal motion, illegal block, pass interference by the offense or the defense, delay of game, and the one signal we dislike and you as fans don't like seeing, unsporting. We'd like to thank everyone for tuning in tonight and following us on IndianaSRN. You can also tune in to the Football Weekly Show and Coach's Show every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. on IndianaSRN.org. Finally, if you've ever thought about becoming an IHSAA official, www.ihsaa.org and click on the Officials tab or call the IHSAA office at 317-846-6601. Now, sit back and enjoy the game.
Welcome back. Our national anthem continuing here from Zionsville West Middle School. Nicely done. By the way, thanks to our officials for tonight's game, their hard work and dedication. Without them, we do not play. Please, if you have nothing to say nice, don't say it. Sportsmanship is everybody's job. Jim Barber, Craig Cox, about ready to get the party started here between Heritage and Covenant. Last year, 34-28. As Craig mentioned, a wild ending to that. Previous year, 34-27. 3 of the 6 games recently decided by a score or less. In fact, you have a game in 17, Craig. It was 55-0. It was kind of an aberration in this series.
I was going to say that's not the norm by any means. You certainly and counting on what we've had more of the last couple years, more than that one there. So it's a great rivalry. Again, there's a lot of parallels with these two schools, with these two programs, even a little bit with the two coaches. Certainly I think that we'll have a great one here to bring to you tonight.
Eagles in the white uniforms, kind of trimmed in purple. The dark uniforms belong to Covenant Christian. They are the Warriors. 5-man officiating crew, about ready to go to work here. Typically, whoever wins the coin toss usually defers. We'll see if that's the activity here. Heritage Christian will get the football to start, and apparently won the toss as well. What's your philosophy on winning the toss and deferring or taking the ball?
No, I think it's situational based on the team that you have. But I mean, a lot of times, it's a long 2 halves. I always prefer to defer if I'm winning. But how it happened, I don't know. If you're Deion Sanders and he says, hey, I want to put the pressure on, I don't want to see what the other team's doing. So yes. I think it's situational, and depending on the flow, it's a little different because this is the start of the game when that decision is made. So you really don't have anything to ground that on. But I know that it seems that most teams will defer, though, before taking the ball.
Bill Belichick of New England made a history out of deferring, and if you got the football at the end of the first half, scoring then and then scoring to start the second half. They call it a 2-for-1, and he has done it some 70 times.
Oh, is that right?
In his career, which is phenomenal. More psychological probably than anything, but fact of the matter is some teams look at it that way, that we get a final score at the end of the first half for momentum, we get the ball to start the second half, we can deliver a knockout punch. So the Warriors will kick off.
You see on your screen there, Luke Munoz, the kickers, broken thumb a couple weeks back, so sporting the cast last week and here again, and go green, right?
Good sign to see him back because he's been kind of iffy in terms of whether he play now, and he's got great range as a field goal kicker.
He does.
We get to that point.
Good luck as a punter as well, and he's one that the family won't have any problem trying to find to get photos for the night, right?
It's great to have you with us. We're off. Home white uniforms and a return immediately. So the Eagles set up shop past their 20-yard line.
Good look at Pimentel there. You'll see him in the backfield.
Wears 5'10", 170-pound sophomore lightning in a bottle, as we mentioned earlier. against the scene at 218 yards.
And he's a dual threat guy. Nix can not only put the ball in the pocket for him, but he can also drop in the pocket. And this is a young man that can do some things through the air on the receiving end as well.
And they'll flank Andrew Sloan, you mentioned him earlier, to the near side of the field as they go receivers on each end. First play from the line of scrimmage to the stud. And Pimentel trying to get past a couple wall defenders, able to move it up to the 25-yard line. The key when you talk to the coaching staff of the opposition is you got to gang tackle him, because if he gets loose, he's gone.
Well, and that's the first guy arrival on that has to do a good job of wrapping him up. This is a guy, again, that you probably want to try to keep more in the A gaps off the tackles more than you want, or excuse me, the guards more than you want to allow him to seek the edge.
Got a couple yards on the play. Let's see how Evan Cottle dials his defense up now on a 2nd and 8. Nearly jumping off sides, Eli Nix delaying his count along with Pimentel in the backfield, who will get the football on a delay. Running to the far side of the field, and just a few yards short of the first down is the tackle made by 79. Who else? Nick Bartles.
Well, and this is both teams are going to look to really try to establish the run, probably more so with Dowdle being out, more so of Heritage. We'll see how the backup does for for Covenant. But both these teams, just as natural week in and week out, establishing the ground game, using some clock, and then being able to strike through the air when necessary.
It is a 3rd and 3. Sophomore quarterback, sophomore running back. Lots of youth here. And no room to run.
What great penetration there in the trenches up front by that D line. Really had nowhere to go there. Great time to come up with that, too, to force 3rd down long, or 4th, excuse me, and for them to be in a position to punt.
Yeah, big 78 is Logan Peters. Check that, Ben Malik up to make the tackle, and out it's 4th down. Covenant should get pretty good field position. It is high, it is end over end, and here comes the return. Landon Ross brought down. And so pretty good field spot for the Warriors. And the football for the first time in their possession in a scoreless game. And I think if you survive Pimentel knocking off some big yards early,
well,
getting to that second line of defense, is a pretty good sign.
It is, and I think as much as they can continue that throughout the night. Now, both these teams have sophomore young quarterbacks, but you want those guys to try to put them in a position to make decisions down the field. Much harder to establish and sustain the runs.
From the 43-yard line, the other sophomore quarterback, Connor Cruz, low snap. Man coverage on the outside, and now into double coverage as they got a little bit of help from 81, Isaac Nelson, who came over to defend. Incomplete, intended for Landon Ross. Second and 10. No score, just 2.5 minutes in. And a splendid night for high school football, man.
Yeah, we've had some good fortunate weather over all the weeks that I recall.
Connor Cruz with his information from the bench, ready to go. Heritage showing blitz. Now they back off. Pass complete. Out to the flat, and Sam Lyons. 5'10", 155 junior. So Connor Cruz starting to get comfortable. Cruz, by the way, coming in. 55% completions, 1,192 yards, 15 scores, and 6 interceptions. So now 3rd and about 3. What do you like here, Coach?
Well, I mean, obviously 3rd and short. I mean, getting something in the screen or something, trying to work over the middle of the field. Some more of your check downs.
Sending Ross in motion throughout the middle. Yeah. And a first down.
That's a great sign for them, too. I mean, Dowdle's out. So being in a position where they have kind of next man up and this is a freshman here, and Owen Halen that is running and backing him up. So what a great opportunity for him, and a great call there, being able to. I think the Eagles defense thought that they were going to hit something more in the flat, or perhaps off the air, but getting something on the run there gave him the first down.
Yeah, was a good call. Carry the ball to the 41. Covenant Christian on the move in the dark uniforms. A little delayed handoff here. Halen again, and this time he's going nowhere. Brought down by the Eagles, number 27, Titus Lamont. And Lamont, he is just a sophomore. It's almost like a JV game, all these freshmen and sophomores up here. And yet this is what we're going to see for the next 2 or 3 years for these guys.
No, and it's great. I mean, both these programs, again, have a lot of underclassmen. We talked about that in the pregame. In that there's a lot of new guys, new fresh faces, but great opportunities for them to be able to step up and have them around for a few years.
There was a loss of 2 on the play. 2nd and 12, 5-man rush. They drop 7. They're 6. Intercepted. Micah Dowdell with a pick, and he's still going. Gets a block, and he's out of bounds.
I'll tell you, the majority of the time when you ever see tip balls, there's probably about 75% of the time you're going to get those picked. And,
check that. That's Isaac Nelson, excuse me.
Great job in coming up with that. And, that's a big part of week in and week out. Coaches are always going to talk about what's the ball security look like. On the flip side of that, you're thinking, hey, on defensively, if we can win the turnover margins, typically will set us up to the place where we got to at least get 40 to 50% of those turnovers into some type of score.
Good point. Great food for breakfast, lunch, delicious baked goods. Check out their daily specials. Open 8 to 2 Tuesday, Sunday. Located at 6247 Oak Landing Road, Tam's Sweet and Savory Cafe. Scoreless game, first miscue of the game. Heritage Christian on the move. A lot of times that same pass for Eli Nix is to find Andrew Sloan, and that's a guaranteed pitch and catch.
Well, and I love that side of it. He went through his progressions, looked downfield, didn't have anything, and hit the check down. It's a great sign of good leadership and good growth as a young quarterback as well. Instead of really trying to press something into what could be potential double coverage, it's just hit your check down and think about positive yards to be able to get in what he did there with Sloan.
Well, think about that. A check down gets you 9 yards on first down. Now you're set up to throw a long one if you want to from the 42-yard line of Covenant Christian. Instead, they'll go same play. And this time it goes nowhere.
Yeah, great pursuit there in what you have by Munoz. The kicker, punter, he's a guy that's a utility guy, both offensively and defensively. Both these teams, probably even more so Covenant, where they have to rely on some of these guys to not only go 2 ways, but sometimes 3 ways with the special teams too. Heritage will have a little bit of that, but this roster's a little bit smaller in terms of numbers with Covenant. But these guys, in a lot of ways, have to be so conditioned when they're asked to play that much. But at the end of the day, they certainly want to be on the field.
How do you like Munoz playing with a recovered broken thumb and playing all those positions?
Yeah, he keeps. Coach Cottle was talking about how much he still feels like he can catch the ball, but that's been a little tougher.
Big hole opened up, and then it closed up for Vaughn Johnson. Did he get enough for the first down? He did, and so the drive continues for Heritage Christian in a scoreless game in a very fast-moving first quarter, already halfway through.
He's Johnson's also another underclassman, even though he's not a sophomore, but he is a junior, and one that can certainly make some things happen as well out of the backfield.
The Eagles are on the move. Football right now inside the 40-yard line in a scoreless game. Back to Johnson again, and this time he's swallowed up trying to go up the middle. As number 72, Josh Williams, one of the few seniors out there, makes a tackle.
And it's early, halfway through the first quarter, but I think Covenant's front four has certainly done their works and shown against this offensive line that they're getting great push and pursuit in those gaps with some of these runs in the A-gap itself.
Got Colin Jones up front, Nate Turpin, A.J. Bradford, Jalen Beeks, Tyler Marsh.
Jones is another one for Heritage to go both ways as a linebacker for the Eagles.
2nd and 8, Nix to the outside, incomplete. Would have been a tough catch for Isaac Nelson, who stands 6'2", 185. Brings us to 3rd and 8. Well, I promoted this game as potentially high scoring. As you can see, I've been spot on so far.
Yeah, well,
nothing.
I'll tell you, both these teams though can break a big play. I'll tell you, I had the opportunity to see Heritage last week against Cecina, and where a lot of people were picking Cecina to win that. Heritage beat them really bad during the regular season, but then they also lost in sectional to them, and had a 2-score win last week. But it was full of big plays on both sides from both teams.
See if a big play is in the offing here on 3rd and 8 as Nix rolls out, and it's got a receiver.
It's going to be really close depending on where they spot this. I think he's going to be just short.
They can tog with the catch. Let's see at the mark.
Looks like it's a yard short, I believe.
Would bring you to a 4th and 1, and certainly that's a go-for situation. As we're under 5 minutes for the first quarter. Your eyes are quite good, by the way. It is 4th and 1. Vaughn Johnson is the running back. So they run to the right where they load up heavily. And before that play happens, timeout.
They're looking to see if they could have the D-line there for the Warriors to bite on that, and didn't work, so Coach Ray called a timeout. Kind of regroup here and see what they might want to play here on 4th down.
We shall take a quick break and come back with the first big play of the game.
We encourage you to follow us on Twitter at IndianaSRN. Find upcoming games, video highlights, and much more. Follow us now at IndianaSRN.
Can't get to a computer? Then we've got you covered. Just go to the IndianaSRN app and stay up to date with all of your favorite teams. You can watch live coverage or relive the experience with our on-demand service.
My name is Jay Jones. I'm the commissioner of the Heartland Collegiate Athletic Conference, and we appreciate you tuning in to tonight's game. We hope you'll stay tuned to SRN for tomorrow's Heartland Conference Game of the Week, showcasing some of the best small college football in the Midwest. We look forward to seeing you then.
Brett Cox, Jim Barber, 4th and 1, big play in the game early. Heritage with the football, need to pick up a yard. What do you think? It doesn't look like it.
No, did not get it. Again, I think that this front four for Covenant has certainly established themselves and have came to play and really sending good messages to this O-line and has really won the battle in these trenches, which has been a big difference in terms of the first drive of being 3 and out and then getting a big stop here when they're approaching the red zone.
And we saw 79 Nick Bartles all right in the middle of it. Hardly a surprise. So the ball turns over on downs to Covenant Christian in this scoreless game. Move your feet so others can eat. 21st year drumstick dash, November 23rd, 9 o'clock, 2.5-mile walk or run, drumstickdash.org. A great fundraiser for Wheeler Mission.
Man coverage here.
From the 30. And a good start to this drive.
Well, that's what Covenant will do. I mean, they run a spread offense. They're going to look to get their wide receivers wide, and when they want to hit the run, it takes guys out of that box to be able to defend that. And they like their chances to be able to go down the field when needed, especially when it's in man coverage. But they will certainly spread you out.
Owen Halen, the freshman, carried, picks up 7, 2nd and 3. Under 4 to go in the first quarter. Two teams combined for 62 points last year and 61 the previous year. Cruz got a man.
Yeah, really nice ball. Good route run, but even a better throw. Put it in a place where only his receiver could get it. You think you get the 5 yards, 7 yards. You maintain clock, you maintain ball control, and just chew the field up. And against a team like Heritage, they want to get their offense and hit those big plays that they got, certainly with Sloan and Pimentel.
Head coach is Kyle Ray, mentioned earlier. Justin Ray, his brother, serves as the defensive coordinator. In fact, it's interesting, 8 years now for Kyle, 2 for Justin. And he said, the first year Justin was just trying to get used to things, and now they're kind of rolling on defense, allowing just a couple of touchdowns per game.
Yeah, it's a family affair, and I guess Mom and Dad don't have to get in a position where they know which team to root for with. It's all in the family.
That would be hard, wouldn't it?
Yeah, Kyle's
separated.
Kyle, a former All-American quarterback at Franklin College, so really an offensive-minded guy with great fire. Done great things over there at Heritage with the program.
He could fling it back in the day, too. 2nd and 11. 8 in the box defensively. Cruz picked up. Brady Heiler, touchdown.
I'll tell you, that's can be, not saying it's going to be, but that can be some great differences of any ball game, not just the one that we're watching here tonight, is when you can turn turnovers directly into points through the pick six. Whenever you can get those on special teams or defense, it's certainly just additive pieces. So great job there by the DB. Looked like it was Brady Heiler.
Yes,
so
sir.
we finally get to talk about a senior. We've been talking about all these sophomores and juniors. So great job there with the pick.
Eli Nix is the quarterback. He'll hold. Extra point is on the way. Whistles blow. Samson Rook puts it through. 7-0 Heritage Christian.
Aspen Creek Grill, we are a from-scratch concept with comfort fresh food. You can expect a world-class experience on a great budget. We've got incredible specials, great service. Today's dish that we're going to highlight is going to be our Aspen Blue Sirloin. It is, again, our premium Black Angus certified beef, and we top that with a blue cheese crust. Again, everything that we do here is made from scratch, and it's no different from our steaks. We hand cut all our steaks in-house. So our team back there, it's just an incredible team. Everything that they do, they take so much pride in. They put a little bit of themselves into everything that they do over here, especially since it is a made from scratch concept. We want everybody to come, visit us, enjoy some great food with some great service. Bring your friends, bring your family. Come have some great food, have a great time with us with some of the best comfort scratch food.
Reminder, this broadcast copyrighted by IndianaSRN and the Indiana High School Athletic Association for the private use of our audience. Use of pictures, videos, and audio without the express written permission of the IHSAA is prohibited. An electric start defensively for Heritage Christian on the pick by 31, Brady Heiler. A pick six, and it's already 7-0 in favor of Heritage Christian. Justice Klingerman, a freshman, will kick off. Waiting for the officials' whistle, and away we go. This is Landon Ross. Nice return to set up the Warriors on 1st and 10, down by a touchdown. Let's take a look at the pick moments ago by the inside linebacker.
Well, Cruz dropping back here. Obviously felt like he had his guy. Didn't quite get it sailed out far enough to the outside and did a great job there, Heiler, jumping the gap or reading that to take that to the house.
Nothing like jumping the route when you're a defender, right? Seen it happen in Super Bowls. We see it happen on the high school level as well. Got Cruz back to work. And back to the ground. Trying to establish something on the running game so far as the tackle made by 53, Tyler Marsh.
Well, this is 1-2 where, I mean, at least to this point, Heritage has to feel good that they haven't got beat, and Covenant really hasn't hit anything vertical to test their DBs down the field. Everything has been kind of short and over the middle. So if they can establish something against this run here, they're probably feeling pretty good about themselves.
And they go 3 wide, and nothing happened there as they go back to the freshman, Owen Halen. And he got chewed up in a hurry by 56, Colin Jones.
And that's the one we were talking about earlier there with Jones playing both sides of the ball as well. He's one that leads them in tackles coming into tonight's game. One that is quite the load. And sometimes you'll see him not only lined up on or this 3-4 on the line, but also at times they'll put him at linebacker as well.
Coach Ray says he's got a motor and he's a beast.
Yeah.
The second part of that's quite a compliment. Connor Cruz needing to pick up 12. makes a man miss, and here he goes. And he may have enough for a first down as Nick Dearman pushes him out of bounds. That could have been a disastrous moment for the Warriors.
Looks like he come up a bit short, but that is what benefit of that is when you're running a spread and you're sending your wide receivers deep like that, and your opponent really gets a strong push like that, and they're in your offensive backfield. If you can break away from it like he just did, typically it's going to be great opportunistic for you and your offense. But at that time they came up short, and Covenant will have to or be forced to punt.
Picked up 8, leaves them 4 shy. Good high end-over-end punt. But it lands out of bounds. Will depend on the spot. With seconds remaining in the first quarter. Eli Nix back on offense with the team in the white uniforms. Heritage Christian. Which, by the way, next year, according to Coach Ray, will have 5 different sets of brothers on the team.
We said earlier it's a family affair between the coaches. I guess it's more of the roster.
Yeah, that's the kind of information you don't get on other networks, by the way. From the 29, 52 ticks left first quarter. Now 2 in the backfield along with quarterback Nix. Isaac Jones is one of them. On the carry, Elijah Pimentel.
Well, and this is one that, again, this Elijah's the one that you really have to try to contain. Try to have somebody else, force somebody else to make plays. Sloan can certainly make those as well. You got to contain him on the outside. But if they can really keep Pimentel in a position to where he's more contained and hold him under 100 yards, they have to feel good about that and their chances to be able to even the score.
That'd be quite a feat. And, of course, if he goes wild, that sets up play action as well.
Speaking of.
Yeah, Pimentel again.
Should be good there for the first down.
Nolan Jones in on the tackle. Referee stops play with just seconds remaining. Unlike the college rule now, which allows the clock to continue after a first down with more than 2 minutes remaining in each of the halves. And that's the end of the first quarter. We promised you offense. Instead, we've got defense. Brady Heiler with a pick 6 and a touchdown for Heritage after 1. In the battle of Heritage and Covenant, Heritage leads 7-0.
Aspen Creek Grill, we are a from-scratch concept with comfort fresh food. You can expect a world-class experience on a great budget. We've got incredible specials, great service. Today's dish that we're going to highlight is going to be our Aspen Blue Sirloin. It is, again, our premium Black Angus certified beef, and we top that with a blue cheese crust. Again, everything that we do here is made from scratch, and it's no different from our steaks. We hand cut all our steaks in-house. So our team back there is just an incredible team. Everything that they do, they take so much pride in. They put a little bit of themselves into everything that they do over here, especially since it is a made from scratch concept. We want everybody to come, visit us, enjoy some great food with some great service. Bring your friends, bring your family, come have some great food, have a great time with us with some of the best comfort scratch food.
Tonight's game brought to you by Boilermaker Local 374. Learn how we can hire you. Contact us today, 219-845-1065. International Brotherhood of Boilermakers, Iron Ship Builders, Blacksmith, and Helpers. Boilermaker Local 374. Greg Cox, Jim Barber, second quarter just underway. Eli Nix finding one of his favorite targets, Andrew Sloan, up to midfield, and another first down for Heritage Christian. And even though we're early into the second quarter, this has become, in your opinion, Craig, an important defensive series for Covenant Christian.
Well, without question. I mean, this is a team that, again, not to say that you can't spot teams 14, but you certainly don't want to ever do that. But, I mean, they're in a position where they're moving the ball for one, but they got to kind of stop a little bit of the bleeding. I mean, from a standpoint that Heritage has been able to move the ball quite a bit better than what the Warriors have on offense.
Elijah Pimentel trying to find his way through, drop for a loss on the play. A couple of people up there to make the tackle, including Nolan Jones and 72 Josh Williams. So they've kept the rugby star in check so far, but trailing this game because of a defensive touchdown, 7-0. So it's kind of good news, bad news so far for Covenant Christian.
It'll be interesting to see, again, which one of these teams really begins to try to make any type of threat down the field. Everything's been more short field at this point.
Eli Nix still looking, and will keep the football.
Yeah, love that. Love that to the play. So it shows great poise coming out of the pocket, being in a position where he read through two of his reads, didn't like either one of them, and just touched. And think again about positive yards. A lot of times you'll see younger quarterbacks really press to try to make something happen. So I love that in the young quarterback in Nix there with that decision.
This is not unusual to high school football, but do you like the fact that the quarterback runs all the way to the other side and get the play and come back?
It's like, can we signal something in? I'll tell you, I saw that last week, and they do it quite, or at least last week they did it quite a bit. So we'll see if tonight does much in the same.
Got to be in pretty good shape to do this as a quarterback, don't you?
Well, you got a decent amount of play clock, so I guess bet you're right with that.
Pick up a 7, 3rd and 5. Home run ball, got a man, incomplete. Intended for Lincoln Togg, who had single coverage on the outside, matched up against Sam Lyons.
Yeah, really good coverage there, and one that just wasn't quite a catchable ball. But, those are the type of plays at times that you need. We just talked about it a few plays ago in terms of stretching the field, testing the DBs to try to open up something that's been shorter, which has been more of the commonality to this point.
Ball's at the 43. Need to get 5 yards to move the chains to the 38 on 4th down. See what the Warriors do defensively. Eli Nix rolling to his right hand, looking and throwing for the first down. Wide open is Andrew Sloan. Sloan gets nice separation, gets the first down, move the chains, and here come the Eagles again.
Well, and these are things that, again, you will teach your quarterbacks, regardless of age, just take what the defense gives you, and that's exactly what he's hitting, and things that will continue to move chains and keep the ball in your possession.
I talk to college coaches a lot who work with young quarterbacks, and the other thing they tell them is don't try to do too much.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing. You don't always have to go out and try to win the game, but do everything you can do to prevent from losing the game, right?
Manage it. And Elijah now starting to get loose. A couple of first downs allows this sophomore to make his move. He's inside the 30-yard line.
Well, balance is key whenever you're in a position where you can balance the ground game with what your air attack is. And both these teams are going to give you probably a little bit more of the ground. But again, both these teams are capable of hitting that, but I think you've seen more of the balance with the Eagles to this point.
Pimentel gets 9 on the play, 2nd and 1. Football located outside the 25. Good throwing down. Although going down on the play is Isaac Jones. And that should be enough for a first down. And it is. I'm a big fan of them changing high school and college rules that if you fall down untouched, you can get up and go.
Right.
Like the NFL. But that is that's not passed any type of legislation yet on it.
I think it's certainly a much safer way, especially with these younger guys.
Football now located at the 23 of Covenant Christian. Back to Pimentel, running to the far side of the field. Love his cutback.
Fumble.
And he loses the football.
Looked like Covenant had it.
Oh, how about this? Recovered by the Warriors.
Couldn't quite see who made the hit, and more if it was the hit or strip if that, or if it was just a situation that Elijah got a little careless with the ball. But either way, it's one as a coach you got to try to minimize. And now both these teams have one turnover each, and see if Covenant can turn this around into points as Heritage did.
Looks like Landon Ross fell on the football for the Warriors. Another two-way performer in this game. That's huge because it takes away potential of 6.
Well, that and as a coach on the defensive side, you always want to teach your kids run to the ball, regardless of when the play is or where you're at, run to the ball, because you just don't know in terms of having accessibility to make recovers as such.
Connor Cruz again for the shotgun, rolling to his right. Makes a man miss. He loses the football. And fortunately, it's the freshman Owen Halen. Johnny on the spot to make the recovery, but there is a loss on the play. Suddenly, we're seeing a little bit of carelessness on both sides.
It is one that you obviously, especially when getting out of the pocket, got to be in a position where, especially as a quarterback, when you're getting ready to throw, is having two hands on that ball, and if you are running, is to get it tucked. That was one there where Connor just, had the ball away from his body, and you just become susceptible to those types of things happening.
He loses 3, 2nd and 13. Connor Cruz, sophomore quarterback. Low snap. Safe pass. Caught. That's Carter Bell, and there he goes. Big play. I mean, they needed a huge play, and who else? But 18 Carter Bell, the 5'11", 160 senior, who, as you mentioned earlier, has made every workout. I think every workout is paying off for him.
Well, it was kind of odd there at the end. He kind of slowed down because I think he thought he was getting ready to get tackled from behind. And then when he realized he slowed down and the guy still didn't tackle him, he actually then started running again. Yeah. And it ended up turning into more positive yards. So that was kind of unique in itself. But nonetheless, moved the chains and great positive yards here to give them a little bit more breathing room here approaching midfield.
Yes, all the way to the 45-yard line. 7.5 to go first half. Now Covenant has flipped the switch on this game, trying to implement a game-tying drive.
Looks like they might try to bring a blitz here, see if they'll call it off.
They do on the run blitz. Now that football's loose. Owen Halen picks it up, pretty good stick in the backfield, and a huge loss on first down.
Colin Jones coming up here limping, looks like a right ankle.
Yes.
And that certainly would not be good for either side of the ball for the Eagles. I think in that case there, I think that Halen got that as soon as he got the exchange there from Cruz. It was to much surprise to have a white jersey in his face that soon. So a little bit of breakdown on the O-line and great pursuit and push by this Eagle D-line.
Which leads us to 2nd and long.
Not sure if the coaching staff saw that Jones was hobbling because he's still in there, but we'll see. Looks like he's moving around.
Rushing 4, dropping 7, incomplete, brings up 3rd down. That one intended for Landon Ross, who threw his hands up in the air in disappointment.
Yeah, well, the tough thing is it's such a long throw. I mean, you're throwing to the opposite field. You kind of drop back and take a few steps to the right and throw left. The ball's got to travel about 40 yards to try to gain 5. And so, and you think of that long pass, how long it has to stay in the air, really makes it hard for the receiver to make a play on it, but it also allows the DB for their pursuit.
Yeah, can be a very dangerous throw, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
3rd and a bunch. Got to get the ball past midfield. Connor Cruz throwing to the sidelines, ball caught. Landon Ross, a favorite target of his. It'll bring up 4th and 1, so they get 17 of the 18 yards back. Check that 4th and 11, excuse me, they're still well short of the first down marker. And likely what is a punting situation.
Clock is 6 minutes exactly right now. 6
Blocked. So a turnover and now a block punt, and Heritage Christian in a great spot right now to go up 2 scores. Ball recovered by Nolan Jones, but they're going to put the football deep into Covenant Christian territory inside the 35, and here's a look.
That's right up the middle, and they already got the 6 on the pick 6 on the defensive side. Now when you capitalize on the special teams as well. Now I guess the offense for Heritage has to join the party. But great job by both defense and special teams to make some very impactful plays here early in this game.
Guess who blocked the punt? Brady Heiler. Remember him?
Yeah.
With the pick 6? 6 to go first half, and maybe not a knockout punt, but certainly a chance for Heritage Christian to put a lot of distance. They're shooting for 6 right now. The throw by Nix to the end zone, and it is broken up at the last minute on a fine defensive play by Sam Lyons. Otherwise, that's 6 and a pass intended for Lincoln Togg.
Well, and Togg actually had that ball. You got to give credit certainly to Sam Lyons there and being in a position as we get the replay here. Little bit underthrown, but the Togg actually had it. But then, and as a DB, that's what you want to do is not only have your coverage, but if your receiver gets that in there, you got to break that up by actually trying to reach through his arms, which is exactly what Lyons did there to save 6.
2nd and 10. Next double pump, and they'll be 3rd and 10. That one intended for Isaac Nelson. By the way, replacing Daniel Peliconda tonight, who is injured, one of the wide receivers. So on 3rd and 10, this is 4-down territory. What do you like here?
Well, I mean, you're obviously 3rd and long, so I think this is something you want to try to spread your formation out and, get in a position to where you drop Nick's back and get him out of the pocket, allow him to he's a kid that's maybe not going to be quite as dynamic as Cruz will be, but he can make some plays with his feet and make him a dual threat here. But I think you got to, and they are in a spread formation, they're going to actually run it.
Vaughn Johnson trying to cut back, not a lot of room over there, bringing us to a 4th down.
And won't be surprised here if this is a 4-down territory. I mean, you don't gain a whole lot here by punting. Even if you don't get it, you're in a position where they don't have great field position. I believe it's inside the 35, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah,
about a 50-yard field goal for Noah Ham if they try it.
And punting just doesn't help you. You could play field position, but there's just not as much. Like I said, if you don't get it, they're still 30-yard line, which still leaves Covenant in a decent position with the defense as well.
Wasn't our high school football team in Louisiana that never punted?
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Never.
Nix throwing for 6, picked off. Landon Ross with a pick, and here he goes. Got blocking in front of him. Huge interception for the Warriors.
I think I saw flag. Yeah, here it comes, flag. Probably going to be blocking the back, I would imagine.
That won't take away the interception, though. And Landon Ross comes to save the day. To remind you about the Morales Group, building better futures one story at a time. Locations in Indianapolis, Zionsville, Anderson, Columbus, Lafayette. You can contact them at 317-472-7600.
See, going against Heritage. And that's where Nix actually had his guy, but just kind of underthrew that. We'll get a replay coming to you right here as he looks to drop back, and the receiver couldn't quite see who it was, but we're getting deep on that. It was actually Sloan, but just underthrown because he got on the top side, which is what you want, but he's got to put that out there to the 10 or even the 5-yard line and lead him to the end zone.
Add the 15-yard penalty to it, Craig, and now the football is into Heritage Christian territory. We are flipping the field a lot here in the second quarter, aren't we?
Yeah, each team's had quite a bit of cracks at it.
Now Cruz is your quarterback, a sophomore from the 45 of the Eagles. He'll keep it and pick up a yard or 2. Ball hits the ground, but after the fact.
Yeah, it's the 3rd time the balls came out. Luckily, he hadn't lost to him. That one he was down. The last one they recovered, and the first one was botched as well. So he's got to be in a position where he has a little bit more ball security. He's young. He's obviously learned that, but one that I'm sure they'll continue to talk and work with him through that is keeping the ball tucked and tight to maintain ball security. I really like the opportunities that Covenant has to be able to work Cruz out of the pocket and make some things happen with his feet as well if he doesn't have anything with the pass.
Yeah, they're making him certainly vertical in this game, and that allows the other part of the running game to open up a little bit as 22 Nolan Jones carries the football. For a first down, and here come the Warriors on senior night. And it appears that Jones is shaken up.
Well, I was just getting ready to say that they've shown some good ability without Dowdle being out with some runners in this backfield as they actually bring in the freshman here now with Halen. But yeah, obviously another man down would not be a help for this ground attack for the Warriors.
No, sir. Fresh out of downs, though. Football at the 34-yard line.
Gonna get him here.
Movement. And some finger pointing, and that looks like it's going to be on the defense. Offsides. First and 10 becomes first and 5.
Yeah, a little anxious, and you're going to get that from time to time. But certainly don't want to get it to where you're a little bit deeper in your own territory as they're inside the 30 now.
Under 3 minutes to go in the first half. Heritage has 2 timeouts remaining, coming in all 3, as you can see by the markers on our graphic. Live tonight on IndianaSRN.org. Good defensive battles it's turned out to be. Connor Cruz, the quarterback.
Good ball.
Now the man, that is a touchdown, I think.
Yeah.
Did he cross the plane?
Yeah.
It's Carter Bell.
What a great pass. I mean, really thrown that really well. What was great is actually set his feet and stepped into his throw. So many times you'll see, quarterbacks throw off their back, but here's the replay here. He does a great job and really steps, gets good balance, and what a great strike.
Carter Bell, who started as a sophomore on the receiving end. Connor Cruz now with his 16th touchdown pass of the year. Now time for the all-important extra point. And Luke Munoz, broken thumb and all, will attempt it. Off the hold of Connor Cruz. A lot of fun watching all these young guys perform as well as they have, like Cruz.
It is great opportunity, and ones we'll continue to talk about and see in the years to come.
Extra point to tie the game. 7-7. Well, we headed for another thrilling finish like last year.
Yeah.
3 minutes to go. Heritage 2 timeouts remaining. Back in a moment.
We need your help so the youth of our community can develop advanced leadership skills. We need your help giving high school administrators and coaches the instruction and insight they need to be better role models and teachers. To learn more or to make a tax-deductible contribution, go to IHSAAFoundation.org. You'll not only be contributing to the foundation of the IHSAA, you'll be contributing to the foundation of our community.
Tonight's game brought to you in part by Piper Logistics, from warehousing to transportation and everything in between. We do it all. Tree services with One Solutions. Contact them at 317-396-1023. Craig, we're deep in the first half. What are your thoughts at this point?
Well, I think both these teams have shown probably what we're going to see throughout the night. Both of them have also had turnovers, and now both of them have actually scored off those turnovers. I think ball security has been a little bit of an issue to try to shore up on. This is a situation here where Heritage deferred, get the ball. So we talked about this at the beginning where they're trying to go bang, bang. If they can get a score before half and take a double dose of that to get the ball to start the second, but they got to be able to convert these.
Munoz, the kickoff.
Very nice kick.
Yeah, here comes the return, too. And they will start a little
fumble?
pass on 25.
Fumble.
Warriors say they've got the ball. Let's see. They do. Wow. What a dramatic change of events. Nick Dearman returned. And off the fumble. Great field position for the Warriors. Take another look as to how this happened.
That was a great kick by Munoz. You usually don't see at the high school level balls getting almost to the goal line. Dearman on the return does a good job, but then when he starts to get the contact, he still just keeps one arm on it instead of just actually covering it up. And helmet got the hat right on the ball. And yeah, I mean, typically that's you're going to more times than not lose that when you don't wrap it up.
Looks like 25, Blake Boston got the hit. What a dramatic change of events when Heritage Christian was marching for its second score. Now it must defend in a 7-7 game. Cruz, double pump to the sidelines. Ball caught easily by Landon Ross, first down.
Yeah, another great great decision there by the young sophomore. Earlier we talked about Nix as far as read through his progressions, didn't have anything tucked and tried to get positive yards. There you saw Cruz where he was looking to go deep, kind of pumped it, and then hit the check down to think about positive yards. So great job, move the chains, make the wise decision, and maintain control of the ball.
Eagles called the timeout to set up defensively for a game tonight on IndianaSRN.org. Greg Cox, Jim Barber got a good one at this point. Started off slowly. Defense took over. Now the offense, by way of turnovers, have led us to a 7-7 game. And what a great scoring opportunity now for Covenant Christian with less than 3 minutes to go.
Yeah, it is. I mean, and this is one here where you don't have to be in a big hurry. You want to manage the clock. You're going to take what the defense gives you. It's not like you're not trying to score, but you don't have to be in a big rush, especially when you just got first down yardage on first down and moving the chains, almost forcing Heritage to use their last time out and then trying to milk the clock the best that you can when you're carrying all three of yours.
That's a very good point, and a lot of times that's something that taught the kids that be aware of how much time is remaining in the quarter. Nolan Jones carries their penalty flag at the end of the play. It's going to be a hold, and that'll move the Warriors back 10 yards.
That's certainly not the direction that you want to go there. But again, it's on first down, and you still got manageable field position. Munoz has got a great leg in terms of kicking. So even if they go to a 20, 25-yard field goal by just gaining 10 more back, they still should be in a good position.
Yeah, I think we mentioned his range is 45 yards. Yeah. So if you've got the ball in or around a 30, you've got a chance. But this drive is 10 yards further back than expected. Let's see if they force Heritage to use its third and last timeout of the first half. 2 receivers to the left and 2 to the right. Nolan Jones in the backfield with Connor Cruz. They'll send Ross in motion. 3 to the left side, and they'll give instead to Nolan Jones. And that'll use some more time based on what you were saying. Not a bad strategy. You've got Heritage on the run, and Heritage Christian has one timeout left.
Yeah, and I mean, you got 3 or 4 of it there. Certainly look for the pass here and trying to get manageable on third down to where you're in a position where you put the defense to understand you're going to pass or run. So you want to at least get about 9 or 10 on this to have it manageable.
Sam Lyons, Landon Ross to the opposite side of the field. That one intended for Landon Ross. Ball caught.
Yeah, the difference between the pass, the strike that he did on the score where he stepped into it, that's one where he didn't. Threw off his back foot, came up short. When you're in the flat like that, you not only got to take that snap and get it out quick, but you got to step in and really fire that over there to minimize the chance for the pursuit of the DBs. So that was more on Cruz, and one now that they're certainly you're maybe in his field goal range, but certainly one that you don't want to kick here. So you want to try to at least get about 10 of this back to put it in more manageable position if they have to kick.
It is 3rd and 21. Connor Cruz in the shotgun formation. They pick up the blitz. Cruz fires. And that is
great
ball
catch.
Caught.
What a catch.
Landon Ross got the foot in, completed pass, clock stops with a minute left. Big play, too.
No, it was. And, I mean, it's one that you expect your seniors to make. This is a young man that's averaging about 80 yards a game in receiving. He has 6 scores on the year as well, but he's a senior. But did a great job of really catching that with his hands, not allowing it to get into his body and working the sidelines with his footwork really, really well. And now you're in a position now where, you know, you look like they're going to go why do they still have 3rd and 5?
Yeah, I made a mistake there. Actually, the penalty was not a movement it down, so it is with pickup of 16.
Yeah, they are still short.
Either way, it looks like a field goal attempt coming up.
25-yard attempt.
It's got great range, Mr. Munoz, and he knocks it home with plenty of distance.
Great job there. I mean, you know, anytime you can get turnovers and turn them into any kind of points, especially in the timing of this and going into half, certainly puts them in a great position.
Heritage has one timeout left, a minute to go. Do you risk the possibility of a turnover, or do you say, you know what, I've got an aerial attack, we can get in position maybe to score?
Yeah, depending on this return, I think will really drive a lot of that process. I mean, you got just under a minute to go with one timeout. You see what you might get out of one or two plays, but I think the play calling will really be contingent upon what type of field position they get off this return.
Senior night tonight for the Warriors here in Zionsville. These two guys are getting a workout here. American flag. Strong Christian message prior to the game, plus the national anthem. Started roughly after 7 in ideal weather conditions. Doesn't get much nicer than this, folks. Luke Munoz, who has the cast on his left hand and thumb. And now with the field goal that has separated Covenant and Heritage for the moment. Let's see if there's enough time left for the Eagles to mount an attack.
Dearman takes it out to the 25-yard line. They'll have just 48 seconds, one timeout to operate.
Eli Nix has the arm, certainly, to get him down the field. You know, Kyle Ray is probably used to operating offensively with veteran quarterbacks, so this is a little bit different for him. He also serves as the offensive coordinator. First and 10 from the 25 with a timeout left and 48 seconds to go in the first half. Heritage down for the first time. Nix. Short pass to Isaac Nelson. Not much gain there, and the clock continues to move.
Yeah, these are ones where you got to have a couple plays ready each time that you run one to prevent having to do any type of huddling.
Now to the right goes Nix. Off the catch and to the sidelines, Isaac Jones to stop the clock.
Well,
Good play.
And that's where your sidelines become your timeouts, right? I mean, it's where you got to try to work those areas, and then if you're on defense, you got to try to keep those guys pressed towards the middle to force them to use that last one. But they're moving the ball here. Only got 20 seconds. Really need to get something a little bit more vertical. I think if they don't get something here, they're probably looking to just run this out and play it safe and go into half being down 3.
Usually it's the middle of the field where you can pick up the most yardage, right?
Yeah, it is, because you're looking for the sidelines. That's right. Single coverage down here on Sloan, which can be a little dangerous.
Out to Sloan. Yeah, how about this on a hook and ladder?
But that's what you don't want, is it's going to keep running. You got to call the timeout.
It's reminiscent of the Miami-San Diego NFL game 100 years ago.
Yeah. And they ran the same play last week. Not so much in the same situation at the end of a half or quarter, but they ran it and got much more positive yards on it, so it's certainly in the playbook.
I love the hook and ladder. We don't see it much at all.
You don't. It's exciting.
Yeah. Don't see it in the college ranks. Of course, the college game is so fast now that maybe you don't need it. 4 seconds to go. Are we looking at a Big Ben play here?
Well, you got 4 seconds to go. I think if you do this, you got to go deep with it and understand that, the chances of them running it back 60, 70 yards is much different than running it back from, 40 or 50. So I think if you work anything, you try your chances, getting vertical and going more on a go route.
A typical Heritage Christian, Covenant Christian game. Tightly contested. Last 2 years decided by a score. This one, difference of a score. And 4 seconds to go. Let's see if the Warriors drop everybody back defensively just in case.
And that trips right here.
Nix has got an arm on him. Shooting one down the field. A little blocking going on, and there's a flag. And so the first half will not end as intended receiver Lincoln Togg was bumped.
Well, the interesting thing here, by the time there was only 4 seconds on the clock, and by the time the ball got to the receiver, there were still 2 seconds.
Yeah.
So they didn't. Yeah, did they reset it to 8? I was curious on that. I was like, well, I know that play took longer than 2 seconds, but the interesting thing here is going to be whether the official, you can't end this on a flag, so it's like it's going to be maybe a one-play run.
Sure.
With no time on the clock.
Exactly. Free play.
But it's obviously it's not a spot foul. It'll be 15 yards.
We're assuming it's defensive pass interference.
I don't know how good your rip leading is, Jim, but trying to make out there with the unsportsmanlike. Oh, no, it's against Heritage.
How about this?
It's probably the end of the half.
Yes, it is the end
will
of the
be
half.
on an offensive call, yes.
Wow.
Coach Cottle's happy with that.
Yeah.
Coach Cottle's telling him there, too, hey, I don't know what you called, but thanks. I appreciate this. Have a good
smile
half.
on his face. How many times does that happen with a coach during a game? Well, entertaining second quarter, and the first half has come to an end. By the way, Craig will have scores of all the games in progress right now at our halftime intermission, where it is 10-7 in favor of Covenant Christian. Let's take a break and come back with our halftime in a moment here on IndianaSRN.
This is a place of becoming. I grew up spiritually here. This place is a gem of Christian community, not just for churches and not just for schools, but for Christians coming together and dialoguing and truly learning and truly engaging culture.
This idea of the relationship with a student and the relationship with God, it's the most important thing in what we do in every single subject that we teach.
We want Covenant to be a place where they are challenged in their faith here in a safe environment where questions are welcome, but we ultimately have faith in the gospel.
The model of Covenant is that all teachers are Bible teachers, that all the teachers are mentors and spiritual leaders. And we've always hired teachers that care immensely about their students and not just about their intellectual life, but about their spiritual life.
The kind of education that Covenant is providing, both intellectual but also deeply spiritual, practical, theology that changes the way that students live. The gospel is the message that changes everything.
We're not just trying to master the truths, but to receive them that we would be changed.
Do you want to have a thinking faith? Do you want to have a curious faith? How about a charitable faith? We need students who understand their faith, and not who just understand it intellectually, but who have a zeal, a personal zeal for Jesus.
We are pursuing concrete answers to everything always, to be right, but to live in right relationship. Not just be right, but do rightly.
Our model of education, our pursuit of learning, is not just about preparing students to serve, though it is that, It's not just preparing students for rigorous academic endeavors, which we hopefully do that as well. But we know that at the heart of it all, and the thing that matters most to us, is that their lives are changed.
Halftime of a good-looking game on senior night at Covenant Christian. With Covenant Christian ahead of Heritage in a rivalry, 10-7. This is where I get to step aside for a few minutes, and Craig Cox takes over the scores.
Well, there's a lot going on tonight. 158 games throughout the state of Indiana. We're just bringing a lot of them to you that are here locally or centrally located. Got Crossroads Conference going off with actually a little bit of a surprise with Zionsville up over HSE 14-0.
Yes.
So that's a big surprise. Triton Central 21-0 over Ritter. Brebeuf leading Roncalli in the battle of the parochials with 15-0. Center Grove over Lawrence Central 14-0. Got a conference battle in Greenfield Central, ranked number 1 4A with New Pal, obviously up on them 14-0. Another Crossroads conference with Brownsburg and Westfield. Brownsburg up on that at 21-0. A battle again of some of your parochials is Lutheran and Cecina, both deadlocked at 7. Don't have an update on the Ben Davis Lawrence North game, but that's obviously a MIC conference game there. Carmel leading the Panthers of North Central 7-0. Western Boone battling Frankfort right now, 21-7. Another Crossroads with Fishers up 6-3 over Avon. Battle down on the south side, Greenwood up 14-7 on Perry Meridian. And then in our northwest, Lebanon deadlocked with Tri-West at 7-7. And then the other game that we're bringing to you tonight with Mount Vernon and Pendleton Heights, with Mount Vernon the Marauders leading the Arabians 10-7. So that's some of your area update scores. We'll continue to bring some of those as we're updated here. This one, obviously, we're at halftime here with Covenant Christian on their senior night, getting a late field goal by Luke Munoz, with the Warriors being up 10-7 here at Heritage.
From warehousing to transportation and everything in between, Piper Logistics does it all. Centrally located, Piper Logistics has 2 warehouses in Indianapolis and a warehouse in Cincinnati, Ohio. Piper Logistics houses over 1 million square feet. Along with our transportation department, we can provide service to half the United States markets.
Can't get to a computer? Then we've got you covered. Just go to the IndianaSRN app and stay up to date with all of your favorite teams. You can watch live coverage or relive the experience with our on-demand service.
We'd like to thank our officials for tonight's game with their hard work and dedication. Without them, we don't play. Please, if you have nothing to say nice, do not say it. Sportsmanship is everybody's job. Brought to you by Tam Sweet and Savory Cafe. Great food for breakfast, lunch, delicious baked goods. Check out their daily specials, open 8 a.m., 2 p.m., Tuesday through Sunday, located at 6247 Oak Landon Road. Jim Barber, Craig Cox. They have a thrilling finish to a rivalry that had a thriller last year on a scoop and score that prevented overtime. Game that Covenant won. Right now Covenant on a Nick Munoz field goal, broken thumb and all, lead 10-7. As we get closer to the start of the second half, what kind of keys stick out in this game as far as you're concerned?
Well, I think both teams obviously have had a couple turnovers. Only one lost at this point by Covenant, but ball security's got to be a big thing. I think both teams have done a pretty good job of playing pretty clean. Haven't had a lot of penalties that have played to either team's advantage. I think you're looking for the thing that Covenant's done really well is eliminated the big strike, the big play. They've really contained Pimentel really good, haven't allowed Sloan to really get deep. So I think at this point, I think both. I think if I'm Coach Cottle, I'm feeling probably even better than a little bit than Coach Ray. I think that Heritage certainly has been more battle tested throughout their schedule. But Covenant's 2 losses have been against teams that have played up division. So I think the big play strikes and the ability of the team to win the turnover battle in the second half will play dividends here in the second half.
You mentioned Elijah Pimentel. What have they done defensively that's kept him in check?
Well, I think a lot of it is they've kept him inside. There's only been once, I think, in the first quarter where he got to the edge and got like a 12-yard gain. But they've had great pursuit, or I should say push, from that D line of getting in the backfield and really containing. So not allowing him to get to the edge is key.
Had a handful of turnovers in this game. We had a pick 6 and a return by 31, Brady Heiler. Heiler also blocked a punt for Heritage Christian. So to hold the Eagles, who have a pretty good offense, without an offensive touchdown is, I think, pretty impressive so far, Craig.
No, it has been, and one that I think coming in, that's probably what Coach Cottle was talking about, and they've been able to sustain that. I think for Coach Ray, it's something they got to be able to start to get some more movement and balance. I think they got to get a little bit more striking and having these receivers create some separation to give Nick some targets to be able to get some things, which is going to open up the run.
Calvin Burnett, Ryan Bell, Henry Jordan, part of Evan Cottle's staff on the defensive side of the ball. You have to be impressed with the way Covenant has played defense tonight, one of the more explosive offensive teams in high school football. A reminder, this broadcast is copyrighted by IndianaSRN and the Indiana High School Athletic Association. For the private use of our audience, use of pictures, videos, and audio without the express written consent and permission of the IHSAA is prohibited.
You know, just to add a few things with some more updates, score. We did get an update on the Ben Davis Lawrence North, and it's already big, but it's Ben Davis 35, Lawrence North 8. A couple of ones I just want to bring up is, you know, you got such a powerhouse in Lutheran being the #1 team for the last few years and winning the state championship last year in terms of 1A, but they continue to play up in their schedule. They've even played a 3A team and beat them. They got another 2A, which is their third 2A opponent tonight in Cecina, who in the last week was a top 5 team in 2A. Well, Lutheran being the 1A is up 35-7 on them. And so they just continue to almost, it's not even ever a rebuild with them. It's just a continual reload. And so doing some great things there and still have a quarterback that's only a junior as he got a little bit time as a freshman.
Well, Covington Christian certainly familiar with Indianapolis Lutheran, particularly as it has gone to the tournament and lost to Lutheran. And Lutheran has that win streak now that's almost approaching 40. Along with the state championships. It's a number that's off the chart. Of course, over time, we'll be moving up to different classifications, which probably make it a little bit fairer, I suppose, for the competition.
Yeah, it'd be success factor. And you know, it's probably one that's not going to be that much of a transition for them because they play up,
yes.
which you see that typically a lot more with basketball than you do with football. But it's not out of the ordinary for teams to play up one division, 2 or 3 games, and I think that they have 5. Which is a little bit more unprecedented.
Seen that with Chatard Cathedral, a couple of the Catholic schools who have put together almost 30 combined state championships where, well, it's been hard to find competition during the regular season, so they've had to bump up and also go out of state, like Cincinnati and Kentucky.
Yeah, you've seen that quite a bit over the last 4 or 5 years with out-of-state games.
Get set to start the second half. What kind of drama do we have to unfold here at Zionsville West Middle School in the battle between Covenant and Heritage on IndianaSRN?
At Morales Group Staffing, we are all about building better futures. And during these times, we are working hard to put people to work. We are now hiring for hundreds of jobs with pay up to $17 an hour. Visit our website at moralesgroup.net. Or text JOBS, JOBS, to 317-472-7600 to apply now and get hired today.
We encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, IndianaSRN. Hit the bell to get notifications for upcoming games and more. Watch as many games as you want, as many times as you want.
Welcome back. Jim Barber, Craig Cox. A reminder, move your feet so others can eat. The 21st year of the Drumstick Dash is November 23rd at 9 a.m. 2.5-mile walk or run by way of Wheeler Mission, drumstickdash.org. Boilermaker Local 374, proud sponsor. Learn how we can hire you. Contact us today. Area code 219-845-1065. International Brotherhood of Boilermakers, Iron Shipbuilders, Blacksmith, and Helpers. All right, Mr. Analyst, what do we see here in the second half that maybe we didn't see in the first half?
Well, I think from a standpoint, as much as it's been a little bit of turnover battle and defense, hopefully we can see a little bit more offensive strikes from both of these teams. I think both of these teams are ones that can put points on the board. I mean, you got somebody with Covenant who's averaging, mid-30s, 35, 36 points a game. They're used to putting points up on the board. Heritage is no stranger to that as well. Been a little bit more of a defensive battle. And so look for one of these teams, and hopefully we'll get some electricity and fireworks from both and being able to get some things working on offensive side of the ball for both of them.
But impressive, too, that Nick Munoz, broken thumb at all, is even out there. And it's his field goal that's the difference in the game.
Yeah, no, I was talking with Coach Cottle earlier this week. Luke was really trying to make his plea, to coach, saying, hey, I can do some things offensively and catching the ball type thing with this cast on. And it's not a small one at that. But give him credit for still wanting to be out there. Not so much from the kicking standpoint because the contact's not happening as much. But on the defensive side of the ball, I mean, he's delivering blows. Or pursuing that in terms of with that cast on. So a relentless young man and not a big frame kid at that. So great heart and great will and commitment and a good sign in leadership, for his team to be out there still battling with his brothers.
I guess you could say he's a warrior.
There you go.
Each team will start the second half with 3 timeouts, 12-minute quarters, as you know. And unlike the college game, which now stops play in the final 2 minutes, but allows play to continue after a first down in most of each halves. The clock will stop on timeouts, or rather on first downs. Of course, everybody watches high school football knows this, although the college game has changed, and probably in a lot of ways for the better. Teams are about to come out for the start of the second half. Just joining us, Heritage Christian got on the board on a pick 6 by linebacker Brady Heiler. Then Covenant Christian came back with a touchdown pass from Connor Cruz to, I believe, was Carter Bell. Carter Bell, who started his high school football a couple of years ago. Cruz throwing his 16th touchdown pass of the year. The book on Connor is he throws a long, deep ball, and we have seen that already in the first half. And then toward the end of the first half, Nick Munoz off a turnover, set up for a short field goal, blasted it through, and that's the difference in our game right now at 10-7 in favor of Covenant.
Well, another thing that Coach Cottle was talking about earlier in the week with conversation with him is that this young man in Cruz as a sophomore quarterback, he really thinks that he has the opportunity to be the best quarterback that Covenant has ever seen in school history.
Really?
And now keep in mind, I'm not sure exactly the number of years, but football hadn't been around a long time for Covenant, sure. but it's been around for a solid 10 years. And this is no team. They won a state championship like 3 years ago. And I mean, you're talking about Austin Frazier, one who's playing it collegiately that helped lead them to the state championship. Tony Flatt, who's also playing at Wabash, who just came out. He was a 3-year starter. And so this man's, really got a great upside and one that can do some great things. And to have him around for a couple more years, I'm sure that Coach Cottle and his staff are thrilled about.
And Connor is 6'1", 180. He could get taller. He could probably put even a few more pounds on, which
I would
make
imagine
it
so.
more difficult to stop, I suppose.
Yeah, the other thing too, Jim, is you know, and I say this probably every year, it's just crazy how this is already week 6. I mean, how the season just flying by. I mean, we got 1 month away from tonight where we're starting sectional play.
Yeah.
And so, you know, these guys got 3 more games, and then it's sectional time. So, I mean, you're headed into you're in your last quarter of your season, and it's where you really want to start to turn the corner to be trying to play your best ball. You've had plenty of weeks to work out the kinks, get the familiarity, kind of know as coaches what you're working with, and now it's really about fine-tuning in preparation for your stretch and your run for sectional.
It's one of the few states that actually enters everybody into the state tournament, and when that first came about, people thought the IHSAA had lost its mind.
Yeah. I remember back in the 80s, you used to have what they called clusters, and you know, you'd play through that. Exactly. Man. And I'll tell you, when I talk to people, you know, from other states, and they still feel strange, like everybody gets into the tournament.
Yes.
It's like you don't have to qualify, you know. And so my wife's from Michigan, and talked to a lot of her friends with their kids playing, and it's dealt off point systems and make the strength of schedule and your wins against, you know, strength of opponents, and you know, there's a lot of formulations, you know, with that, and make it probably a lot more complex.
Nobody's listening, but I tell some of my college friends that we should do that the same thing with the FBS. Just put everybody in there. Maybe Alabama opens with, I don't know, Alabama A&M in the first round, but people come out and watch it. You know.
We might end the season. It might take us to March Madness.
Indeed. About set to start the second half. The lower part of your picture, you can see Connor Cruz warming up, number 5 in the dark uniforms. On the near side are the Warriors. This is senior night for them. On the other end, the white uniforms, multicolored headsets that belongs to the Eagles of Heritage Christian. The last 2 games bear mentioning again because they were decided by 7 and 6 points, and right now we are headed for another fantastic finish, decided by just 3. Closest game in recent memory, 2018, in the game that Heritage won 12-10.
There's been a lot of nail biters, and we're framing this one up for you in your living rooms to be much in the same tonight, and see how each of these teams can capitalize on things that may happen on the opposite side of the ball.
There was a penalty at the end of the first half, and the unsportsmanlike will bring Covenant back 25 yards. Excuse me, Heritage. So Heritage now will kick from its own 25. We'll see how pivotal this turns out to be, because we know this much. Barring a turnover, the Warriors are going to have great field position.
You know, nothing like taking a sour memory of the first half to start the second. Right?
Yeah. Coaches always talk about momentum. I wonder what was talked about in the locker room for Heritage. Ray could not have been thrilled with that. Justice Kligerman, the freshman, to kick off. The Warriors to get a great field position if they can field this, and they do, from their own 30. Carter Bell eludes one tackler and then is brought down. Not a huge return, thanks to J.T. Duke with a tackle, but still a good field position start for the Warriors. In front by 3 points as we begin the second half.
Let's see what type of adjustments both of these coaches have made here at halftime on both sides of the ball of their respective teams.
Heritage again without an offensive touchdown in this game. Covenant has one score of 6 points and then a field goal. Twin receivers to both sides for the sophomore quarterback Connor Cruz from the gun. And the second half is off and running. Nolan Jones, the halfback, fullback / tight end, carries the football.
Yeah, good to see him back in there. Midway through the second quarter, kind of came up a little gimpy. Looked to be a lower leg, but great to see him back out there.
Gets 3 on the first play of the second half. 2nd and 7, and now they'll send trips to the left of quarterback Connor Cruz. 3 by 1, one receiver near side, 3 to the far side. 4-man rush, it's a running play. And a good one for Nolan Jones. He's going to take the pile with him.
Yeah, what a push. And, you know, if there was an assist in football, I think a few of his linemen just got it by kind of like the Warrior push and not the Bush push, right?
Yeah, the Bush push, which, by the way, now that you mention it, comes by way of football Notre Dame, which has that monster game in Ohio State tomorrow night. That was USC in the Irish.
Yeah, it is quite a big one. They were talking about it might be one of the more monumental games in South Bend since that infamous game.
Irish breaking out in the green uniforms tomorrow night.
I saw that. It really looked nice, too.
First and 10 for Covenant on the move and with the lead. Cruz in trouble. Stuffed out and will throw, and does he have a receiver? He does. Nice catch by Landon Ross. He's had a couple of them in this game.
Yeah, he has. I was just going to say that, Jim, is that another great one where, you know, Connor got great decision-making there of getting the low snap, as we saw here, a little bobble, and did a great job of getting out of the pocket and ready to throw that. But more importantly, what a great hands catch there by Ross, his second one, as you mentioned.
Picks up 8 on the play, second and very short. Let's see if Cruz throws a home run ball here like a free play almost. Back to pass and looking and shooting for the end zone, and it is broken up at the last minute. It's a good defensive play by Vaughn Johnson that prevents a touchdown.
Yeah, and that's one there, as you called it, is being able to drop back and looking to get the big strike again, where he underthrew that. Had his guy on the top side of his route there, but just kind of had the ball just not, as we call it, a little bit, not enough helium on it to allow it to rise to where he could have led into the end zone.
You know, I call it a free play, but what I mean is that really it's a down you can almost waste.
Correct.
Because then you've got third and short and 4-down territory. A free play, I suppose, comes with a penalty marker on the defense, and then you're throwing it up for grabs. 3rd and 2. Back to the ground game. It's a quarterback keep. Cruz, open field. He's going to score. Touchdown, Warriors. What a call on 3rd down.
It was more of an RPO and given his position to be able to make that decision based on his quick read. So what a great job, as we see here. One that had Colin Jones fooled, but and we talked about this early in the first half, as this is a young man that not only can throw it, but last week he had a score on the run, but he also threw for 5. But he's a dual threat guy that has some wheels on him that can make you pay.
Offensive coordinator's got to be pleased with that call, Ryan Ross of Covenant Christian, and now a chance to add the 17th consecutive point in this game. Under 10 minutes to go, early 3rd quarter. The Warriors have shown their dominance. Nick Munoz, 2 extra points and a field goal in the game. And the lead now is its largest. Covenant 17, Heritage 7.
Calling officials cheaters or corrupt, it's not a game.
Insulting referees, it's not a game.
Threatening officials, it's not a game.
Berating young umpires, learning the ropes, it's not a game.
Violent language in the stands, it's not a game.
Verbal abuse from the sideline, it's not a game.
Screaming at a referee in the parking lot, it's not a game.
Greg Cox, Jim Barber, a reminder, this game brought to you by Morales Group, building better futures one story at a time. Locations, Indianapolis, Scienceville, Anderson, Columbus, Lafayette. Contact them at 317-472-7600. This game has turned on a dime. The Warriors were down 7-0 and Heritage was marching. Then suddenly turned the ball over, and now Covenant's up 10.
Well, you not only got to turn turnovers into points to be really successful, but we also talked about at the half, Jim, as which team was going to strike first with the big plays, and there it was.
Here's Dearborn with another return. And he is gobbled up by 4 different Warriors. Among others, Jacob Fultz there, 12. 25, Blake Boston, who's been on a couple special teams plays. So here we go. Heritage Christian's got to find a way to jumpstart the offense. What do you think it has in mind?
Well, I think you got to continue to try to run things through Pimento. I mean, you got to get him going. But some of that has to be on this line to really create some things, especially up the middle. But you got to be able to allow him some space to be able to make some things happen. You look for big plays from your big skill sets, and he's their guy.
Eli Nix, quarterback at 6'2", 185. And a short run play in the handoff to start this offensive series by Elijah Pimento, who has mentioned, as Craig mentioned, held in check in the first half, minus a 12-yard run. Gets only a yard on that play, if a yard at most. Are the receivers having trouble getting separation so far for Heritage?
Well, I mean, they haven't been able to get anything vertical. So, I mean, give credit. You know, I think that's as much credit to this Covenant secondary as much as it is the Heritage receivers. But it's one that's been a little bit of a surprise here tonight.
Play a base coverage as Nix throws on the run, and that one broken up at the last minute by Carter Bell. And now it's third.
Well, and that's one. Sorry, Jim. That's one where Eli's got to really be in a position there where he's almost blanket covered. I mean, he's got to tuck that and run or find his next read. You don't want to be in a position, especially just after getting a turnover and then getting them a score. I mean, that was a dangerous pass where it almost got picked.
Yes, and now you're down by 2 scores. And should you give the ball over either by turnover or by punt, looking at putting yourself out of the game here. 3rd and 10. It's an important play for Heritage Christian. Noah Dillon comes to the near side, trips to the far side. Nix in trouble, flushed out, and running. And this time he does run, and he is brought down in play. Tackle made by 79, Nick Bartles, who's been all over the field. We mentioned earlier that he's already had an invite from Western Michigan to pursue his football attributes after high school.
Yeah, great job by the big fella, too, with Bartles leaving that line of scrimmage and chasing down the quarterback. I mean, he's 260 pounds. Great job of showing some speed to get to the sideline and keep that to a minimal gain.
Noah Ham is the punter, 34. He's back at his own 20. 4 minutes into the third quarter. Fair catch being called. Bobble for the moment, but retrieved by Landon Ross. 8 minutes to go, third quarter. You almost get the feel now the Covenant's got a chance to knock out Heritage with a drive here.
Yeah, I mean, it's one that they were that first team to kind of bust through and make the big play. Sitting comfortable but can't get comfortable. It's a situation you got to keep your foot on the pedal. Still a lot of time left, and a 2-score game with a team that, even though Heritage hadn't been able to show much tonight in the big play, but it can pop at any given time.
Heritage comes into the game with a record of 4-1, ranked 12th in one poll and 7th in the other. Covenant Christian unranked. We're making its presence known in this game as they go back to the freshman, Owen Halen. We haven't had a chance to talk about him. What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, a lot of it is terms of what they've been able to do up front, and I think they've done a great job in terms of this O-line being in a position where they're creating holes and really making some things happen here offensively, and really on the ground at that.
Sure. Tackles, mentioned earlier, Logan Reifert and Will Thomas. Guards are Theo Anderson, Nathan Crane, and Nick Bartles. Anchors the offense up front as the center. We're 79. Fresh set of downs. 5 minutes gone by, third quarter. Little shovel pass there.
It got a little dangerous there, but trying to mix it up. But they're clearly trying to hit the ground attack. The score happened that way. Much of how they're moving this ball has done. But you see, again, you're dealing with a quarterback that's dual threat, not only with what is run, but his ability to get out of the pocket. And I certainly like him getting out of the pocket when he doesn't have anything for the read to make something happen with his feet.
Nolan Jones, the ball carrier, actually the pass receiver. It's recorded as a pass. 2nd and 8. Covenant in charge, up by 10 on senior night. Heritage showing blitz. They're coming with 4, dropping 7. That one hops to Carter Bell. It'll be 3rd down.
And that's the pass you got to have with him. Again, he stepped into it and had good balance and had his, a receiver actually on the slot or more of a deep slant. But, being in a position where you got to have to make that, it's a fundamental throw. He's young, but, you got to be able to do that to find that balance to really push yourself into the depths of your season and into sectionals. That's just got to be a play you got to have.
3rd and 8. See how Heritage defends it. Everybody's up in the box right now. They may be coming after Connor Cruz. Cruz with the bank and throws. Nice design play.
It really was.
Beautiful.
One that moves the chains, but I love misdirection.
Yes.
Getting him out in the boot and just hitting in the flat. So really, really good call there by the Warrior offensive staff to move these chains and continue to keep the Eagles defense on the field.
Roland Jones with the catch and run for the 1st down. We mentioned the coaches Evan Cottle. The offensive coordinator is Ryan Ross. Wide receiver coach Calvin Burnett's got to be thrilled with what he's seen so far, too, from his guys. And the O-line, Henry Jordan anchors that as a coach. Fresh set of downs and a 10-point lead, all moving toward Covington's way. Covenant has won the last 2, and not this time for the freshman Halen.
Yeah, what a great pursuit there and great push there. It looks like Sam Utzig D-lining getting a great push there.
Loss of 3 on the play, 2nd and 13 for Covenant. Maybe closer to 4. This has to frustrate Heritage because a lot of time expires on a run play. And you're already in the 3rd quarter.
Yeah, that, and then they're giving up multiple first downs. They got to be able to get off the field.
Yes.
Covenant doesn't have to be in any hurry for anything.
Connor Cruz in trouble. Gets rid of it at the last minute.
I don't know if he was out of the pocket. Couldn't really tell, but there was no flag. But there wasn't a receiver in the area, though, either.
No, sir. You got to get out of the tackle box, that's for sure.
That
Picks up a 3rd and long.
turns out to be a good decision, right?
Pretty heady play by a young kid.
Yeah, it was.
Know how to get rid of the ball, how to avoid.
And if you're the Eagles defense here, this is one you can't give up. They're not in a position to go for this in their field position, I wouldn't imagine. So it's one that you certainly got to get a stop here.
3rd and 14. Fake by Cruz, in trouble, he's done.
Utzig again.
Wow.
2 out of the last 3 plays.
Sam trying to turn this game around here. And with that sack, that means that Heritage gets the ball back and stops a little bit of that Warrior momentum.
Well, and you need that. Now, the bigger thing is can this defense and the adrenaline that they're pushing on this particular possession be able to give them momentum offensively to make something happen.
Henry Shaver's going to punt. Football located at the 46 of the Warriors. Under 5 minutes to go, 3rd quarter. And a late substitution by Nathan Crane on that front line for the Warriors. That ball nearly blocked. And it's going to bounce, and everybody from Heritage Christian gets out of the way. Turns out to be a pretty good punt. At the 21-yard line with 4:31 to go in the 3rd.
One update is a little bit of a surprise is Garin Catholic over Chittard 6-0.
Wow.
That's a 3rd quarter score. Chittard obviously number 1. Their class, and that's always a battle too. Garin Catholic, great program as well, but that one's a little bit of a surprise as you see there.
That's huge. Back on offense, the team in the visiting white uniforms led by sophomore quarterback Eli Nix. Trying to get something going offensively. Give to Isaac Jones. Check that. It's Pimentel.
Well, and he's one, too, that we've talked about his ability and his way to be very explosive. But he's very shifty, and you saw that there, too. You know, you talked about how Coach Ray called him lightning in a bottle, and he's one that can really change direction, has good vision, but really some good breakaway speed as well. And he's one that if you get him in open space, he can really electrify and make some things happen.
He now has runs of 12 and 11 yards. His two best of the night in the backfield along with Isaac Jones, 34. Now Isaac will flank out. Move to the right side is Pimento. Nix in trouble. Makes a man miss. Still alive and brought down. And obviously nobody was available as the secondary of Covenant Christian gobbled things up.
Well, good decision by the young quarterback. Again, if you don't have anything, don't try to press and make anything happen. Just try to get whatever positive yards you can. However, obviously lost a yard on that play, but that's better than turning the ball over or trying to press to make something happen.
Yeah, you get a feel in this game if you turn the ball over in your territory. If you're Heritage, you're done.
Sure, yeah, and this is one that's very, second and long, but it's one that's manageable. You want to try to at least get 7 or 8 yards on this, again, to make it third and short.
And a pitch back to their main guy. Pimento and Elijah carrying everybody with them. How about that run on second and long? He's still alive.
Yeah.
Thought he was down for a moment, but no, all the way to the 45-yard line, and there's lightning in a bottle.
Well, and quick response there by Elijah is when he thought he might have been down, he also knew that he didn't hear a whistle. So great heads-up play there to continue to play, and certainly a thing with Covenant to where they stopped, and you don't want to do that. We talked about earlier, defensively you want to teach the run of the ball, but you also, on both sides of the ball, you've got to play to the whistle.
The rugby player is finding some open holes. What's allowing him to do this right now?
Well, I think some of it is getting to the edge, and that's where he's gonna be best.
It's got a nice cutback move to him, and when you talk to Evan Cowell, he said it's the cutback that we're really concerned with, and he can stretch to the outside, and suddenly he's coming inside, and he's gone.
Yeah, it's a change of direction with him. If you can get him to where he's working opposite side of the field, more times than not, there's not a whole lot of guys that's going to really chase him down.
He has opened up this Heritage Christian offense here in the third quarter.
Now the flip side to that too is, Jim, is that give Covenant's defense and the coaching staff on the defensive side of the ball a lot of kudos for maintaining or containing him here tonight so far.
No, absolutely. Nick's in trouble, and he is sacked. Well, you mentioned the defense. Here it comes.
Well, and that's the side of it there that you just, if you're Eli Nix, you just can't allow that to happen. When you see the pocket basically collapse like that, you got to get yourself as quickly as possible out of that pocket to be able to potentially throw that ball away. But, you've been moving the ball really, really well, but then to give up, a sack and lose 6 yards, especially when it makes it third down, and you're in a position where if you don't get much here, you're almost in a position where you need to punt still with this another whole quarter to go.
Josh Williams was playing tackle also even better at the end, credited with that sack. Here's the long ball caught! Huge play by Noah Dearman.
Yeah, and that's just a freshman there. He's also a transfer, the brother of Nick Dearman. They both transferred into Heritage this year. This is a long freshman. He's like 6'2" as a freshman and still growing. His mother, real tragic situation years ago, had passed away from brain cancer, but she played basketball at Butler, so comes from athletic genes. But this is a kid that really has good upside, and they like him a lot. I was talking to Coach Ray last week. He's got high upside and only being a freshman and having great length and the years to come with him.
He has set his team up in the red zone. Nix. And that nearly was picked off. His receiver going one way, and the defender, Carter Bell, coming the other way. That could have been, for Heritage, a disaster. We have an injured Warrior right now down around the 10.
Yeah, from Andrew Sloan's standpoint, it's like, hey, I had 6 based on what I was doing.
Yeah.
But the quarterback almost gave up a pick.
Let's take a break, and we'll find out about the injury when we come back.
My name is Jay Jones. I'm the commissioner of the Heartland Collegiate Athletic Conference, and we appreciate you tuning in to tonight's game. We hope you'll stay tuned to SRN for tomorrow's Heartland Conference Game of the Week, showcasing some of the best small college football in the Midwest. We look forward to seeing you then.
Hey, Indiana. Let's clear the air about vaping. Glue, rat poison, paint. We all know these products contain poisons like formaldehyde, arsenic, and lead. And these are just a few of the chemicals you'll find in e-cigarette vapor. Let's clear the air, Indiana. Don't puff this stuff. Visit don'tpuffthisstuff.com to join the fight and spread the word.
Carter Bell, the injured Warrior, may have a cramp. He's walking to the left of your screen and now out of the picture, but he appears to be okay. 3rd and 8 when play resumes. 38 seconds to go, third quarter. Ray Cox, Jim Barber. This is big for Heritage. Got to get points here.
Well, it's probably 1-2 where it may be 4-down territory unless they can get a score here.
Blitz off the edge to the end zone, incomplete and intended for that fine-looking freshman Noah
Got
Dearman.
flagged.
But there is a penalty flag on the play.
I think they're going to get Sam Lyons for pass interference here.
Ooh, this would be big.
Cottle's calling for the ball to be uncatchable, which I'm sure these officials, which they're doing the right thing when they can come together as a crew and talk through this. But I think they're going to get him for the hold.
A lot of the crews nowadays are 5 men, and it turns out that because of lack of officials, lack of numbers, that you have situations even when it's dipped below that.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest sports that's been hit, at least from what I've heard too as well, is officiating across the board, but baseball seems to be in the Little League area has been hit the hardest. And it is a shame to where you have so many of them that have done it for years, but it's just the younger generation, they're not getting as many new applicants.
It's going to be 1st and goal now from the 7. Big penalty, Heritage Christian. With a touchdown here, we're cut it to a 1-score game.
You know, this is where on 1st down too, you know, you got somebody like Noah Dearman who's in there that's at 6'2", 6'3", and
jump ball thing.
And yeah, you just kind of run a fade to him, especially against DBs that are 5'9" and 5'10", and let him go get it. You got to put it on the outside of that to where only your player can get it, but certainly would like to see that here.
It's actually 3rd and 2, not 1st and goal. Need to pick up
spot,
2 yards to make it 1st and goal. Quarterback to keep, straight ahead, end zone, did he get in?
He did.
Touchdown! Got ourselves a game. Heritage Christian, led by Elijah Pimentel, went right down the field, and then Eli Nix paid it off. 17-13, Covenant Christian.
You got this to good read. He's trying to find his guy here and doesn't like what he sees, so he just tucks it and runs. And that's what you want. It's quick decisions to make and think positive yards. If you don't get the score, you're picking up the 2 to get the 1st down and getting a new set, but wasn't needed. So great job here by the Eagles in taking what was led by their defense and getting the big stop with Utzig, and the extra point gets blocked here.
Yeah, this is big too because Samson Rook's extra point keeps them with the block down 4 instead of a field goal difference.
And position 2 where it has to take a touchdown and not a field goal. And who was it? Luke Munoz.
Yeah, who else?
Yeah, I'd like to order a hamburger, fries, salt, maybe a large vanilla shake.
This is a trophy shop, can't you tell?
You got carry out?
Everything that you need, we have here at the shop. Very unique. You order today, carry out tonight. That's our version of carry out.
All right, I'll take one of everything.
Well, that may take a little longer. We'll have it for you tomorrow night.
17-13. Heritage Christian kicking off, seconds remaining. Upman fields successfully, and that's where Covenant will start this potential scoring drive on the catch by number 20, Bryce Egan, who is a freshman. I feel like I'm repeating myself tonight with all these freshmen out here.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah, and a lot of good ones, too. So Warriors football, now the lead is down to 4. Blocked extra point looms big here at 17-13.
And it's one that we'll have to really keep in mind as we navigate here to the fourth quarter, because it certainly could pay huge dividends by forcing an extra touchdown where a field goal could have tied.
So from the 40 we go. This might be the final play of the third quarter. Quarterback is Connor Cruz, who's thrown for a touchdown tonight, and has also run for one as well.
Haven't seen a signal yet, but it looks like may have had some motion here, and we're going to delay a game.
A little unusual when you take over a possession, have a delay a game, isn't it? Sometimes just wrong personnel out there or indecision about the play call. On the 35, first and 15. Cruz calls his own number. Tries to get those 5 yards back and will, and another flag comes in.
I think here you might end up getting, we have a coach taken down. So this is actually going to be both, I believe. I think you're going to get a face mask on Cruz, and then a late hit, which actually took out a coach on the Heritage sideline as well.
Yes.
You also got a hat off of one of the officials.
It's going to be a huge walk-off, isn't it? You can hear some of the conversation.
Couldn't quite. I saw the player, the coach go down and the player go down, but I couldn't quite see exactly when. But it apparently, obviously, they're outside of the sideline.
Top of 15.
15. Yeah. Somebody's doing push-ups over there on the sideline.
Yeah. Apparently to see if he's okay.
Face mask is the first one, which I thought I saw his head kind of come down.
And then you've got what unsportsmanlike.
Yeah, this could potentially be like 35 yards. You got about 10 out of the play, 10 or 12, and then you could have 30 on top of that. This could end up being like a 40-yard differential. So I don't know if they end up only being able to take one of the two, but apparently it's a spot foul.
Okay.
Nonetheless, they retain possession. Looks like ball's here at the midfield.
And great field position at that.
I'll tell you, here in the second half too, Jim, is Covenant has clearly established so much of the ground game, and they've done the majority of it with their quarterback,
who is starting to see some holes in that defense. First and 10 after the penalty. Connor Cruz, low snap. Throwing over the middle, got a man, broken up last minute.
Really good play.
Play by Isaac Arterburn.
Yeah. Great coverage there in the last minute. Now you're going to get, I think, something again. You're going to end up getting taunting against Arterburn. So, great play, but then you got to keep your composure and just move on to the next play. But great play by the young man, but then you just got to stay more poised, because now you're giving him not only a new set of downs, but more importantly, the field position.
Well, just about every level of sports, wouldn't you agree, has zeroed in on taunting?
Oh, it has. I mean, because there's so much more of it a lot of times. And such an emotional game, and I get that, but you got to do it in your own space.
Sure.
You can't do that walking by your opponent.
No.
And especially when the official's right there.
Yeah.
Do it in your own way.
That's the other key. If there's somebody legislating the game in front of you, not a good time.
And here comes another one.
Wow, what is this all about? This game is starting to get out of control here.
This is one where, it might not be a bad idea for Coach Radium call timeout and kind of regather the troops and really recompose, if you will.
If, in fact, it's against them, yeah, it's a good idea. Wow. You don't anticipate this in a tightly contested game. Sometimes when a game gets out of hand, but...
Well, this is the third penalty in the last two plays, two on the same play, and it's going to give them 30 yards.
Not good.
It's going to be dead ball, unsportsmanlike. Yep.
They're marching all the way down the field and having Not having to snap the ball.
Yeah, and that's 15. It's not even 10. It's 15.
Wow.
And so that's I'll tell you, it's going to take it to the red zone. That's
That'll be at the 20. Yep.
Yeah, so such a tough break, but again, that's the mental side of it, and coming off of you finally get your first offensive score of the game, and you just can't falter like this from a defensive perspective.
Yeah, you don't want to give it right back. Potentially final play of the quarter. Quarterback Keith. This time they stuff out Cruz before he can do anything special, and that will bring the quarter to an end after the tackle by Tyler Marsh. Well, what an interesting third quarter it turned out to be.
Yeah, you got two touchdowns on from both teams on the offensive side.
And a lot of emotion. And guess what? There's likely to be more. On to the fourth quarter between Heritage and Covenant.
Can't get to a computer? Then we've got you covered. Just go to the IndianaSRN app and stay up to date with all of your favorite teams. You can watch live coverage or relive the experience with our on-demand service.
Logistics, from warehousing to transportation, everything in between. We do it all. 3 services for one solution. Contact them at 317-396-1023. A slew of Eagles penalties at the end of the third quarter put Heritage Christian in scoring position as we start the fourth quarter. On the 2nd and 10. Craig Cox, Jim Barber, pleased to meet your acquaintance tonight. And another good battle between these two Christian schools. Quarterback is the sophomore Connor Cruz. Off the low snap. Cruz over the middle. That's going to be a penalty coming up apparently on Isaiah Stevens, who was defending. You're seeing a lot of laundry out here suddenly, Craig, in the last minute or so.
Yeah, and actually this one coming against Covenant.
Oh, excuse me.
Oh, no, it's marching them back. Looks like maybe Heritage.
Isaiah Stevens, so.
Holding.
Well, in fact, it is against him.
Yeah.
So if you're keeping score penalties on the part of Covenant, that's 4 or 5 in the last couple minutes. Excuse me, on Heritage, and this is usually pretty well dedicated, disciplined team. Not on this drive.
Well, and keep in mind, 35 of these yards, they started at their own 30.
Yep.
So the majority of this has been from penalties, and you're right. Just the breakdown of that is things that you gotta clean up.
Another low snap, but Cruz handles it, and he's got a man wide open. Good cut back. Is he in?
I think you got. I haven't signaled you. Oh yeah, they have.
Touchdown, Landon Ross, and it's a 2-score lead again for the Warriors.
Yeah, and it was really one that I thought he was going to take himself away because I thought that he really had the outside to run to the corner, but he cut back as we get the replay. I saw him coming over the middle, so great pass, staying to the outside, but then he came back to where all the defense was. So made it a little hard on himself, but it ended up paying off and still got the 6. So great job in back-to-back possessions with the Warriors getting something done offensively now to making this a 2-touchdown game.
This is the 6th game of the season for Covenant. And already 17 touchdown throws from Connor Cruz.
Well,
Nick Munoz for the point.
And speaking to that, Jim, it helped that even in last week where he threw 5. Don't see that too often in a high school game.
No, or any game for that matter. Now an 11-point lead, and that missed extra point by Heritage comes into play because now you need a touchdown, 2-point conversion, and a field goal to have a chance. But a lot of clock left. We're just starting the fourth. And if Heritage Christian can get away from self-destructing as it did on defense moments ago, they'll still have a chance.
Well, Covenant certainly has, as the fourth quarter just started, but has some great momentum with back-to-back scores. Heritage has rattled themselves more than Covenant doing that in this last defensive possession with all these penalties. So they've got to bounce back from that and, keep your composure. I think that they're in a position to answer right here. There's a ton of time left. You get a score right here, and it's still anybody's game.
Our game is now officially 2 hours old. Started at 7 o'clock Eastern time in the evening, Friday night. We have reached the 9 o'clock hour. Nick Munoz with the wrap, the cast around his left thumb, getting himself in position to kick off. Well, it's looking to be a pretty good senior night for Covenant if it can hang on. But again, still a lot of ball left to be played. Nick Dearman has returned a couple of these kicks. One for some substantial distance. He's 27. And this will go in the end zone. You still have all 3 timeouts if you're the Eagles, and you've got all of the fourth quarter left. So you haven't reached a danger zone yet. But you do need to make something out of this drive to have a chance.
Yeah, and that's one where, again, as we talked about coming out of the second half, still think that you got to try to do your best to ride your big play guys, and that's Pimentel and Sloan on the outside. Haven't seen as much as Sloan tonight. So one that you don't want to certainly sleep on him. But it's going to start with separation. Again, we talked about giving credit to this secondary of the Warriors, but one that right now, as you see at the bottom of your screen, has got single coverage.
Elijah Pimentel set up the last scoring drive, and they're starting to find some holes for number 5. You wonder, too, as he picks up 11, if he just gets stronger as the game goes on.
Yeah, Durrance is good, strong runner. We talked about that he's a kid that's a smaller frame guy, but it's a bit deceiving because he can really hit you as a downhill runner, but more of his strength and skill set is really more to be shifty and on the edge.
He has had 4 double-digit runs here in the second half as compared to 1 Craig in the first half.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, saw him last week, and he had 3 scores of over 45 yards. He had one that was 68, one that was 70-some-odd yards, and then another one right at 40. So, I mean, he's a guy that again, can hurt you really quick, but it takes some help with these guys up front.
Good run game always sets up the play action. A little push right there, and incomplete. Noah Dearman had his hands on it. No penalty on the play. Goes as an incomplete pass. It'll be 3rd and 5. Well, the most important thing here is move the chains to keep the possession going. So you need to pick up 5. Pimentel is obviously a key target here. But Nix has done a nice job, I think, at times, Craig, of rolling out of the pocket and also, finding a Andrew Sloan available.
Yeah, he has, hitting the checkdowns, and I like that. Gives him more space, a little bit more time to read. It's a little tougher on your O-line to be able to hold the blocks a little longer for that as well.
Pimentel needing 5, getting 5. Got 12, first down.
Yeah, really good run. Would have liked to seen him stay more to the inside there. It's natural to hit to the outside. That's where his strength is at.
But cut back, right?
But at the end of the day, it's about moving chains and keeping this drive alive where they really need to answer what Covenant just did in back-to-back scores.
First down for the 46. Nix got a man wide open. Caught. Noah Dearman, the outstanding freshman, huge catch for the Eagles.
Well, there's one where he's a lot of what their trouble might have been in the first half has really been having their receivers create some separation. Noah Dearman has shown on the end zone route in the third quarter, as well as 2 on this possession, where he's created the separation to get down the field, especially with a lengthy receiver.
Pimentel for a modest gain on first down. This game now starting to resemble what Covenant and Heritage have been like against each other over the years.
Yeah, moving the ball, answering each other's possessions. The thing that I'd like to see with Nix is really a lot of times with his balls, you see that they got a lot of air underneath it and going really up in the air as opposed to a really good play defensively here by looks like Munoz. He's easy to spot with that cast,
yeah,
right?
He is.
part of the uniform. But yeah, like to be able to, as we see a flag on the play, but be able to bring that ball down a little bit to get to his receiver a little quicker to be able to make a play. The higher that ball travels, it just allows the DB to make closure on the route. But that'll happen over time as we get penalty here against the Warriors, which is going to come close to moving some chains for the Eagles.
A pass intended for Isaac Nelson. And the defensive pass interference.
The ball inside the 10 here.
Half the distance. And they will spot it now at the 7. First and goal. Boy, it's a quick moving drive.
It has been, and you got to be in a position where you got to take care of the ball in terms of ball security. Here, I really look for them to get Pimentel involved either way with a run or pass and getting something on edge here.
East to the right of quarterback Nix. Jones to the left. First and goal. Everybody in the box. To the end zone. Ball caught. Is he in play? Touchdown. Isaac Jones on a 7-yard reception.
Well, and one that hasn't been really involved with tonight, so really came in there and kind of used Pimentel as a decoy, being in the flat, and then went long as we see here. Send Pimentel out for the flat and throw to the back of the end zone. And what a great job by Isaac going up to high point that ball, going up at the highest point. So great job by our cameraman there and giving us our replay.
Good call by the head coach / offensive coordinator, would you say?
Yeah, and exactly what Heritage needed to do, and that is answer. Keep the pressure and making sure somebody's going to be able to stop the other from answering these, and they're going for the 2 here to try to keep this field goal game.
Nix, little jump ball to the end zone, and it is
caught.
2 points, Andrew Sloan. What a play. And he was blanketed there.
Yeah, what a tough pass, but even a situation of making the play there by great coverage.
Folks, we have another thriller between Heritage and Covenant. What else is new on IndianaSRN?
We encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, IndianaSRN. Hit the bell to get notifications for upcoming games and more. Watch as many games as you want, as many times as you want.
Burtner Electric Incorporated is fully licensed and bonded electrical contractor for your protection. Our electricians are available 24/7 for service calls and specialize in electrical service and storm damage repair. For more information, give us a call today.
My name is Jay Jones. I'm the commissioner of the Heartland Collegiate Athletic Conference, and we appreciate you tuning in to tonight's game. We hope you'll stay tuned to SRN for tomorrow's Heartland Conference Game of the Week, showcasing some of the best small college football in the Midwest. We look forward to seeing you then.
Ray Cox, Jim Barber, 3-point game. Eagles came right back after a Covenant score to get a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. So now they're on schedules, they call it, after the block extra point. The return for the near side of the field by number 33, Caleb Jankowski.
This is a situation here for the rest of this game. A lot of it's going to be really determined a lot in who can actually withstand from a defensive perspective and who's going to be the first one to stop, as we've had back-to-back answers both these teams.
Well said, and you got to hang on to your timeouts here.
Yeah,
as
and both of them carrying all 3 left, which is great, so they're in a good position there. And you said it, Jim. I mean, why would we expect anything different than a 3-point game with these two teams?
I said earlier it was a slow start. You said, wait a minute. I mean, it's early.
Yeah. Well, and they're both capable of what we've seen here more in the second half. A little bit been more error-free than the first half, but you're seeing both teams' offense start to click a bit.
This offense starts from the 38-yard line of the Warriors. Huge gain on first down and a first down carry by the freshman at 5'7", 145 pounds, Owen Halen. 145.
And coming right up the A gap, right?
Oh, man.
For good first down yardage when you can move the chains on first down.
Got to be tough at 145 to go right in the middle of everybody.
Running downhill.
His quarterback is 6'1". Looks like his younger brother there. Of course, he's squatting down. First and 10, 9 minutes to go.
Rolling with him again.
Halen again, and he is just thrown to the ground by Tyler Marsh. Called his name a lot tonight.
Some good times for Friday night and Saturday morning ice baths, right?
Yes. And you can sit back and watch some college football.
Yeah, Mom and Dad's like, hey, we already got it ready.
Yeah. To carry with you.
Yeah.
Second and 8, 8.5 to go in a 3-point game.
They're riding him strong.
Halen's got the first down into that second line of defense, and at the end, Brock Buckland makes the tackle, but it's another first down, and now the football is spotted inside the 35.
Yeah, what great heart by this young man. I mean, they're riding him 3 plays in a row. I love their running up the gaps there again, and did a great job of when he anticipated the hit, is really wrapping that ball up with 2 hands and thinking ball security. And that's what keeps a kid on the field. And, I mean, he's one that's obviously making things happen with his feet, and just a freshman at that. So
yes.
What a great testament to this young man.
We've got Will Thomas, Theo Anderson, of course, Nick Bartles, Nathan Crane, Logan Ruffin, all up front for the Covenant Christian offensive line. Actually, should mention that Theo Anderson is out tonight. Josh Williams has been in the game. Nat Bentley now coming up. We'll make it first and 5 for the Warriors, who are trying to answer a touchdown, then answered another touchdown. And now you have to think that while you've got a good field goal kicker, 3 gets you some separation, but not a whole lot.
No, and it's one that still leaves you a little bit susceptible to, being only up 6.
Sure.
At that. And so you really want to punch this in and continue to keep the pressure on the Eagles.
Connor Cruz has run for a touchdown. He has thrown for a couple. Landon Ross is his man. Little end-around activity, and Ross able to get past a couple of people with his speed. Looked like that play wasn't going for anything.
Yeah, I really thought Colin Jones had him in the backfield, but great job by Landon Ross really getting to the edge and turning that corner and turning that into 8-9 yards. So great job there by him to give them a position where they're keeping this second and very short.
Second and a long one. The football now spotted at the 25.
Well, and that's 3 times too, Jim. The last 3 first downs that they've had on this possession where they've had 7 yards plus on first down.
That's huge. A lot of times you pick up the third down play, but you do well on first down. But this time, Owen Halen is stumped out.
Well, on the flip side of that, it's great for the Eagles to be in a position where you get tackles for loss. Still third and manageable, but it looks like it's about 3rd and 6. 3rd and 5.
4 on the play. Wow.
This is 4-down territory here too. It's probably on the the outskirts of what Munoz's range might be, but you don't gain anything by punting, as we mentioned this earlier. So it's 4-down territory, but one that the Warriors would certainly like to move the chains here on 3rd down.
So what's your call here on 3rd and 6?
Well, I think at this point you ran a heavy dose of Halen. I don't think that I would run that here. I think you get Cruz out of the pocket.
Cruz is going to get out of the pocket before he gets sacked.
Yeah, great pursuit and push there by the D-line. I still think you go for this here. I would have liked to seen really Connor get in a place where he's booting and getting out of the pocket quicker there. Had more of a 5-step drop and just continued to get deep, and there was just too much of a push from the D-line of the Eagles, setting up 4th and 6. And they'll go for it as anticipated. Even if you don't get this, you still put Eagles in a position where they have decent field position, but not the best. but you got to get him out of the pocket.
Got Carter Bell to the right, and on the left, it's Sam Lyons. Fake by Cruz, throwing for the first down, got a man wide open. Gets the first down on another deceptive play on a catch by Nolan Jones.
Yeah, again, we saw that in the first half, misdirection. Kind of looked it off, booted out opposite, and just had his guy rolling out there, which was basically uncovered and an easy opportunity to move these chains.
And now into the red zone come the Warriors, looking for that 2-score lead, which a touchdown would give them.
Nolan Jones is back being a little gimpy. We saw that in the first half with more of a lower leg, and he's really noticeably limping once again. And one that continues to push and grind through. And again, I like continuing to try to look, maybe here on first down, looking to get to Halen again.
Interesting formation as Cruz keeps. Didn't fool anybody, though, and now just throws it away. He was pursued by Sam Utzig, who's had a really good second half.
Yeah, and really good decision there, again, that we had by Cruz. He probably would have lost 3, if not 4 yards on that, by not getting rid of the ball before he went out of bounds.
Should this drive stall, we're looking at a 30-yard field goal or less, depending on how close they get. But it is 2nd and 10, and we're a long ways off from that decision-making as Cruz looks to the sideline for direction. Head coach Evan Connell, offensive coordinator Ryan Ross. On 2nd and 10, and a flag.
Going against Covenant. It's like the left guard had a little flinch.
2nd now and 15.
Now you're probably on the verge of getting out of Munoz's row. I mean, right now it's about a 42-yard field goal. And so more than likely you're 2nd and long, and you're in a position where this is probably going to be more of a 4-down territory.
And let's see what Covenant comes up with, Greg, after the break.
We encourage you to follow us on Twitter at IndianaSRN. Find upcoming games, video highlights, and much more. Follow us now at IndianaSRN.
Can't get to a computer? Then we've got you covered. Just go to the IndianaSRN app and stay up to date with all of your favorite teams. You can watch live coverage or relive the experience with our on-demand service.
My name is Jay Jones. I'm the commissioner of the Heartland Collegiate Athletic Conference, and we appreciate you tuning in to tonight's game. We hope you'll stay tuned to SRN for tomorrow's Heartland Conference Game of the Week, showcasing some of the best small college football in the Midwest. We look forward to seeing you then.
Back to action, 2nd and 15 after the Covenant timeout. 2 timeouts remaining for the Warriors, all 3 for the Eagles. Football now spotted at the 23. Got to get it all the way to the 8. Donna Cruz going the distance as a sophomore quarterback. From the
bringing
shotgun.
A blitz.
He'll keep, and he's going nowhere. Tyler Marsh has spelled that out along with Sam Utzig here in the second half, and they're making sure that Cruz has got nowhere to go.
Well, and they were showing blitz, but they didn't even have time to get everybody there.
No.
As Allen made a great pursuit there and wrapped him up kind of quick. Kind of a late whistle, knowing that he got wrapped up. I was glad to see that he didn't get taken to the ground there. But again, 3rd and 18, this is really where you got to stay home, own your assignment. You really got to be in a position where you keep them to 5 yards or less. They're outside of field goal range. It's 4-down territory, but you want to continue to make it, 4th and 12, 4th and 11 at worst case scenario. You can't give them too much of this here on 3rd down. And you certainly can't do that.
No, sir.
Giving them 5 on a free play, so it sort of looked like it was encroachment here. Oh, delay a game.
Now it's 3rd and 23. Well, this drive has stalled in a hurry, hasn't it?
It has, and one that you definitely can't do offensively. You just if they don't get any positive yards here, I think you have to punt it. I mean, you're at the 30 now. You can really pin them in and play more field position with less than 5 minutes to go.
Yeah, the punt would come from your own 40, with their 40. Cruz on third down, trying to make up some yardage, does to Landon Ross, who is brought down, got some of the yardage back. So now you've got a decision to make if you're Evan Connell. And what decision would you make?
Well, I mean, you're at what, the 20-yard line, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
And that is within range.
So it's 30. Yeah, it's 37 yards.
And here he comes.
And it looks like they're going to line it up. And so, yeah, I mean, it's one that you typically in high school football don't see things beyond 30 for the most part. But this is a young man that's got certainly the leg. And, well, as you said, Jim, within his range. A lot of this comes down to that snap and hold. And the holder is Cruz, the quarterback. But what a great opportunity that teams have having a kicker like this, where you can attempt to go for this kick.
This is from 38 yards out. How's the distance?
Not even close. My goodness.
Missed it.
The distance, and I was talking distance. I thought he had made it. But the distance, he had at least 10 more yards. But, man, that's tough.
Heritage holds serve and still has all 3 timeouts remaining with 4:37 to go. Well, that drive self-destructed, forcing Munoz with a longer kick than he probably would have preferred, but as you mentioned, plenty of distance with that leg.
It is, and I mean, this is one where Covenant really has to make their stand. Outside of really a decent portion of the first quarter, I would say that Covenant has really controlled this game for the last 2.5 quarters, and it's one that you don't want to let get away from you. So they really got to have a strong defensive stand here in protecting these edges.
Elijah Pimentel's the running back. He'll get the pitch out and run to the far side of the field. And didn't get much.
Well, and the nice thing is they tackled him in bounds.
Yes.
You either force, and it's too early to use any of your timeouts, but no gain. I'll tell you, I've been really impressed with Covenant's defense on the edge, because that's really Elijah Pimentel's strength, and they've been able to stretch him out and be able to contain him well.
Eagles going quickly to the sidelines. Is that a catch?
Yeah.
No. Dropped by Noah Dearman. It'll be third down. And that's not terrible for the Eagles. It would have been a modest gain, and the clock would have kept running.
Correct.
But now you got to pick up 10.
Yeah, it's been quick. This is it right here.
Would you go for it on fourth down if you fail? You still have all timeouts.
I wouldn't. I mean, you're too much deep in your own territory, and like you said, with 3 timeouts left, I think you punt this away, and you just got a defensive stand here on this last one. Field possession is key, especially with this much time left.
Andrew Sloan, Isaac Nelson to the near side of the field. Here comes the blitz off the edge. Great play by Nix. Avoids the blitz, gets the first down. And Heritage Christian now is in business.
Yeah, and what great presence. I mean, great job of breaking that tackle, but getting towards the sideline and not having to burn a timeout. Not that they would use one this early, but using the sideline to stop the clock and knowing where that first down marker was at.
2 quarterbacks, a lot of fun to watch, aren't they?
They have, and being so young, they've had some great pocket presence and good decision making, and great upside for growth.
And Lake Life before Pimentel can run. Could be a legal procedure. We'll wait and see. Nope, offsides. 5 free yards for the Eagles. Trying to win for the first time in the last 3 games between these 2 teams.
When was the last time that you said that Covenant had beat them? Was it 2020 or 2019?
See, it was 2020, yeah.
Yeah, 2020, yeah.
36-21.
Yeah, which was the year they won the state championship.
To the sidelines, nice save play to the freshman Noah Dearman. Stops the clock, under 4 to go. Chains get moved. Heritage Christian is going faster with its offense.
Yeah, and I like that. Keep the pace up, especially with what has been the strength of Covenant's defense tonight. We've talked about the secondary for the Warriors a little bit, but it's really been their front four and their sustainment of of Pimentel and getting in the backfield, so you can kind of get those big guys in the trenches gassed.
Pimentel carries the football. That's the original line of scrimmage, and he just gained so many yards after contact.
Yeah, you get 7 there on first down, maybe 8.
That's what coaches look for a lot when they are scouting high school players. What do you do after you're hit? This guy does a lot. One tackler is not going to bring him down.
Well, and they've done a great job, too, of working those sidelines and haven't had to think about using one of their timeouts and preserve those, even if there happens to be another offensive possession that they get.
Yeah, all 3 still remain over the middle.
Oh, that looked like penalty. Yeah,
there will be a penalty.
Yeah, certainly one that was not intentional, but it was an obvious one to call.
Takedown by the freshman Bryce Egan. Plays that inside linebacker spot along with Daniel Shin and Nolan Jones. It has hardly been a penalty-free game.
No, in this second half we've seen, the first quarter went fairly quick without too many, but the third quarter was very heavy and a little bit of the start of the fourth.
Huge walk-off here as the football goes to the 31. Heritage 31 yards away from retaking the lead. Didn't have an offensive touchdown for a while in the first half, but that has changed here in the second half. Pimentel runs into a wall on the left side, led by Bartles. Big Nick, 79. Up to make yet another stop. Hope those 2 guys shake hands after the end of the game.
Right.
Seem to be on a first-name basis here. A loss of 2, 2nd and 12, under 3 minutes to go. And if you're Covenant in the offense, you got to be thinking, hey, we may need a score to win this thing. We give up a touchdown here. Nix. That should be an incomplete pass. His arm is going forward. Good pressure, though, by Bryce Egan, who committed a penalty moments ago.
Yeah, and just sent the corner blitz coming off the edge there, kind of hitting blind side as soon as he was throwing. So brings up 3rd and 12. Obviously, it's 4-down territory. Almost 2.5 to go here, as you'll see on your screen.
For Noah Ham, this should be a lengthy field goal. Should this drive stall, and should they attempt to go for 3, that would be close to 50 yards, and probably not doable.
Yeah, if you're not getting the first down, you got to at least get 7 or 8 here to make it 3rd and short.
That's what Nix is looking for. He's looking for 6 instead. Got a man, and incomplete, intended for Isaac Jones, who was near the pylon.
Yeah, and one that was catchable. Not an easy one, but certainly went through his hands and was in play. Still, again, I talked earlier about with Nix that there's so many of his balls are traveling straight up. If he gets these balls down a little bit lower, not only easier for his receivers to make, but there's separation taking place. And again, I think mentioned over time, certainly he'll evolve a lot of that and those mechanics.
Eli Nix has got to get the ball to the 21. 4th and 12. Good snap, looking and throwing. Looking for Dearman, and intercepted. Landon Ross on the run back. And he'll just go down to his knees.
And that's one that, again, you either get the first down or you score. If not, there's really not a whole lot lost there.
It's not lethal.
Because they're in a position. Is there a flag? Here's the replay as we got here. And again, you can see the ball flight. It just, but again, on a return, they still have the ball at the 20. And here's the thing, they have all 3 timeouts left. So if you're in a position where you get a stop, I don't think you call a timeout after first down, but you call it after 2nd and 3rd. You can get stops, and then it leaves you with 1, maybe 2 timeouts left and getting the ball left with maybe a minute and a half to go. So it's far from over, and one that they just need a defensive stop here.
Connor Cruz at the controls, trying to wrap it up. Ball loose, and he's just going to ball on it for a loss. First out, the last thing.
And see, there's your timeout. There's your timeout, and you got him to lose 5 yards.
Unforced error.
I mean, Jim, if you think here, I mean, they're at the 17-yard line. Again, if you can keep things to a minimum or even no gain, I mean, you can literally stop the clock here after second down and be in a position where, again, you got a minute 30, minute 40, and you're getting the ball back with still maybe one timeout.
So now you're Covenant Christian, and how does Evan Cottle play this? Because doesn't want to give the ball up, but if you take too much of a chance here and you have an incomplete pass, clock is going to stop.
Well, and this is the thing, too, where you have a weapon like you do with Cruz that can, again, we've said it multiple times, that can do things and hurt you out of the air or with his feet. You got to get him out of the pocket. And if he doesn't have a little short check down or something over the middle or something out in the flat, you want to make sure you stay in bounds with any completion. But if you read and don't have anything, tuck the ball, think positive yards, and now you're also not only maintaining possession, but you're forcing Heritage to use their timeouts. And if worst case scenario, you got a good punter to get really good field position from a defensive perspective with a little bit of the clock for Heritage to work with.
Schaefer, by the way, a sophomore, is that punter. Second down, 13 with 2:18 to go. Snap to Connor Cruz. To the freshman, he's going nowhere.
Another loss.
Tyler Marsh with a tackle. Well, this drive is going backwards, and Covenant Christian now will be faced with a third and very long, and Heritage Christian has used 2 of its timeouts, still has 1 in the bank, and is about to get the ball back, unless the Warriors can come up with a huge third down call.
Well, and this is going to be the interesting call. You know, they got 1 timeout left. Is do you burn that if you get a stop on third down to stop the clock to give you more to operate with offensively, or do you let the clock run down to the point where you still have a minute 40, minute 35, but still preserve one of those timeouts?
So if you're Covenant, is this a give-up play, or do you shoot one down the field, hope you get the first down to clinch it?
You know, I don't. I think I play it safe. If I can't hit it, if I'm not running something like a draw, I'm trying to hit something out as a screen or the flat and try to get positive yards and not try to take a risk. If you get an interception here, they're going to have the ball at least at midfield.
3rd and 17. Third year in a row, it's been a 1-score game between these 2 schools.
Yeah, we got what we asked for, right?
Yeah, you almost wish they were same classic and meet in the playoffs. Snap to Connor Cruz, looking, setting up a short pass, and it is picked off! Oh my gosh, and who else but Brady Heiler, who already has a pick 6 and a block kick.
Well, and that's what you can do. Again, he stayed in the pocket. I don't like that he stayed in the pocket. You got to get him out of the pocket to give him room to read. And then second, as we see the replay, you can't float this ball up in the air, regardless of whether he's covered or not. It was just bait right there. And so what a great play here that we see by Ethan Mateo. But I'll tell you, that's huge. You got the ball at the 7-yard line.
First and goal. Now Covenant's going to have to think about its timeout situation.
Well, I think you're in a position where you got to almost run twice, and then if you have to throw on third down, you can, but you got to play a safe 7-yard line with Pimento. I think you got to be able to get him on the outside.
Here's Pimento cutting back. It's what he does best. With a football, touchdown! Heritage Christian goes ahead.
What a great cutback. We've talked about all night his change of direction, right? I mean, you know, he hit him to the outside, got the defense to bite, planted that foot in the ground, and then cut back. And really, as we see the replay here, just put the foot in the ground right here. And what a great cutback. I mean, lost 7 players right there. So here's the thing, though. I mean, they scored quick, you know, and you got to take it as you get it. They're going to be up with a score here, up where it forces them to get a touchdown, but there's plenty of time left with Covenant having 2 timeouts.
The extra point is true. 28-24 Heritage. With 1:59 to go, Covenant with 2 timeouts remaining. Well, as good a game as Connor Cruz has played, he's also thrown a couple of picks. And one led to a pick 6, and the other one just led to a touchdown moments ago.
Yeah, and those are times where being able to make certain decisions based on your field position and the circumstances of the game in terms of clock. Understanding where I need to ground it, where I need to tuck it, where I need to run. And again, that's a lot of that is youth and maybe not as much experience, and you got to feel, and your heart goes out to him, and he'll learn from those things. But again, what a great play that we had there.
Brady Heiler is for Heritage. Just had a game and a half. He's number 31 has blocked the kick. He picked off a pass and scored. Now he picks off another pass, and he's like your defensive star of the game. Now all they got to do is hold serve defensively, but in this game, who knows if each team still doesn't have a possession left. These two schools need to play a home and home during the season.
Right.
It's pretty entertaining, wouldn't it? 1:59 to go, still 2 times. Covenant can stop the clock. Short kick, Landon Ross.
Plenty of time to operate. Got not only 2 timeouts, but 2 minutes. And this is a team, too, that can score quick. They've surprisingly really done well tonight on the ground attack. We thought we would see a bit more of the passing game. Cruz is one that has made things happen with his feet, and I want to see him out of the pocket during this drive. Don't like the particular position for him to really drop back. Let him get out of the pocket, make reads, make plays with his feet.
Yeah, with those 2 timeouts remaining, Craig, have to go 70 yards to go ahead of the game. Cruz on first down, looking to his right, throwing to his right, and that one could have been picked off. Back defending was Isaiah Arterburn, number 4, the 6'2", 175-pound sophomore. And Heritage is almost in a position where they can jump a few of these routes.
Yeah, you can. And really one, too, where they might be in a position to be, where the field position is to maybe even show some blitz packages. Trying to hurry the young quarterback.
Sure. Why not? Going to rush 3, drop 8 rather. And Cruz to the sidelines, incomplete, intended for Ross, who really didn't have much of a chance to get that one. He was defended well by Brock Buckland, the outside linebacker. Now you're down to 1:47. And this likely is 2-down territory, 4-down territory, unless you think you can somehow get the ball back under a minute off a punt.
Well, that, and if they're just going to rush 3, then it puts them in a position where they can really take their back linebackers and really drop and really have double coverage on all 3 of their receivers. Just got to be able to watch the middle of the field, because that's the area that becomes really an option for your quarterback.
Heritage Christian trying to go 5-1. Connor Cruz fires a strike. Ball caught. First down, Munoz with a catch.
Well, Munoz was telling his coach, I can catch the ball even with this cast on. He just proved it there.
He's amazing, isn't he? Clock continues to move, down about $1.50 for the game. Touchdown could win it. Cruz fakes the handoff and is in trouble. Big trouble. He is dragged down by 56, Colin Jones. The beast, as his head coach calls him.
I was going to say, he's the anchor of that defense, and you expect that. You expect those teams to come through and make big plays at big moments, and that's what he's doing there. Forcing Covenant to use one of their 2 timeouts here. They'll have 1 left, and there's still plenty of time, and they're about the 35-yard line, and one that's still manageable, but you can't be in a position where you're taking loss of yards as they did there, almost losing 10 yards.
I think the secondary of Heritage has done a nice job on Carter Bell tonight.
Yeah, they have. It's one that we haven't, Coach talked about him, that he's the second leading receiver, one that's had 5 touchdowns on the year so far, and one, you're right, Jim, the great point that we haven't talked about him much tonight, and one that was a weapon for this Covenant offense.
Justin Ray is the defensive coordinator, the brother of Kyle Ray, the head coach. One of the things his team does well is the blitz. Right now, expect them to possibly rush 3 and drop 8. 4 maybe at the most, you said. He'll send 4. Cruz over the middle, and that almost got picked up into double coverage. And we have 2 Heritage Christian players hurt. Oh my gosh.
Well, it's a really good job that you had there by the safety coming up and making that play. It was Isaac Nelson. And great read and pursuit of the ball and being able to knock that down. But good to see both of them up. Looks like Isaac Arterburn as well. But both of them are up. That's a good sign.
Yes. And that ball thrown into double coverage. Incomplete pass now, 3rd and 20. Clock stops. Giving Heritage, because of the injuries, or rather Covenant because of the injuries, a chance to regroup.
Well, it's 1-2, Jim. You don't need to get all of this. You'll take what the defense gives you, but as long as you can get 10, 15 of this back, you don't have to go for it all here because it is 4-down territory. You still got the 1 timeout left, so there's still breath that the Warriors offense has here, and we'll see what play that they can get. And it looks like they're going to take maybe this Heritage calls their last one of the game.
Well, there was a time when it looked like Heritage was going to need all its timeouts, but has mounted a comeback to lead by 4. And a stop here will end the football game because Covenant will not have enough time on defense, even with 1 timeout, to stop the clock and get the ball back. So it's a big play coming up. And to your point about not having to get 20 here, but get what the defense allows you, a manageable 4th down might be 10 or better.
Yeah, it is. Again, I'm a little bit surprised that they haven't tried to get Cruz out of the pocket a bit more, and hopefully they'll look to do that here. But again, you're having plenty of time to draw something up, and but you got 2 plays, and so you got to think about that in terms of that. And I think that's what you're coaching in terms of right now with Connor is again, as we just talked about. Take what the defense gives you, but if not, know that you don't have to get all 20 here. It's just 3rd down, and we'll see how this is managed.
Let's see how the Eagles defend this. They've been rushing 3 principally, putting 8 back in the secondary. They'll rush 4. Cruz in trouble, throwing over the middle.
Wow.
Huge first down, it's Munoz.
And of all players, the one with the one hand. Got a cast, making plays.
Wow, what a play.
Their ball at the 36-yard line.
Yeah.
Again, still got 1 timeout, and he's going down.
Now Munoz is hurt.
Cramp or what?
Looks like a cramp, doesn't it? He's on the near side of your screen here.
Got his legs up. It appears that's what it might be, but
57 seconds to go.
Maybe calling for a stretch, but yeah, that's apparently what it is. Oh, there's a flag. It's coming back.
Oh,
wow,
man.
how big is this? Is this a holding call maybe?
This would be a game breaker here.
Yeah, it sure is. That's going to make it
instead of a first down.
3rd and 30.
30-some yards away. That was out of your screen for the moment, but maybe out of despair, Munoz was down as well. And the football is going all the way back to the 20. Wow.
Didn't see the signal, but I'm sure it's probably holding. You got a guy that's in the pocket back a little bit. It's so tough on the O-line to, they love, run blocking a whole lot more than pass blocking because they have to hold those 5-7 seconds, and a lot of times that's what happens when your quarterback's in the pocket that long.
In his 3rd and maybe a 1/3 of the football field?
Yeah, right. And again, you don't have to get it all back. You can try to get 15 or 20 of this back, you're in a position where it's still manageable.
Now what you hope for here is a pass interference penalty.
Where you got to have your receivers try to sell it a
little
bit more too, right?
3rd and 30, which means you must get the football at midfield.
Right now it's at 56 seconds. I don't know if they're waiting for it to change. Yeah, it's still at 56 seconds.
Here we go. Cruz got to get rid of it quick. Got a man out there, but incomplete. Intended for probably Sam Lyons, I would think.
He certainly had him, just overshot him a little bit.
Didn't have much time to throw it, did he?
Yeah, so this is your game
Yes,
right
sir.
here.
And if you're Heritage, you got to be really careful about any pass interference, which would give Covenant a fresh set of downs and some life. I've seen teams rush 2 and drop 9 on a play like this.
Yeah, never know. May see that here. I got 3-guard front, but it looks like that they're going to rush one of their backers and everybody else drop.
Empty backfield for Cruz. 5 receiver set. Got to pick up a third of the field on 4th down, and before that happens,
timeout.
Covenant uses its last timeout. Well, if you were able to pick up a first down here, and you have 2 plays to do it, you're not going to have much time to do it because you're out of timeouts. If you go sideline, they'll probably give you 5 or 10 yards at most.
Yeah, you're right.
It would stop the clock, but sets up a 4th and improbable. Herod started the game with a pick 6, and that was by Brady Heiler, and he came through with an interception that set up the go-ahead touchdown for Heritage in the 4th. And that's where we stand at 28-24. Another thriller between these 2 teams.
Giving you a lot of high school scores tonight, but I'm sure many of you at home watching this one are maybe aware of the different format with college football. You know, having Friday night footballs. Purdue hosting Wisconsin tonight, and Purdue down by 13, 30-17, as we bring you the last few plays possibly of this game here tonight.
Cruz is in big trouble and is brought down.
Now it's 4th and much longer, right?
Yeah, Isaac Jones.
Called his name quite a bit tonight. Had the score that put them ahead late in the 3rd quarter. The victory formation here. Really, you know, great game, but it's one that, you know, just kind of slipped away from Covenant. Like I said, outside of about, you know, halfway through the 1st quarter for 2.5 quarters, almost 3, Covenant really maintained control of this game. And over about the last 5 or 6 minutes, Heritage just made the plays that they needed to play. And some of those were, in some ways, given up by Covenant, but Heritage took the opportunities and turned them into points to be able to get this win here tonight.
And we'll now go to 5-1 on the season with 3 consecutive victories. Starting to get that momentum you talked about, Craig, getting into the playoffs in the latter part of the season.
Yeah, it is. I mean, Heritage will next week they'll play LaPel, and then they close out with South Putnam and Purdue Poly. 3 games that are very doable for them, to where they can end up being 8-1, and then Covenant ends up with Crystal House, and then with Ritter.
And then on to the playoffs as well. It's a good one tonight, especially in the second half when the offenses both started to take hold. 28-24 your final. Another highly competitive battle between these 2 Christian schools. And the good sportsmanship, as you might imagine, being exhibited here at midfield at the end of the game. Let's take a break and come back. And come back with some closing remarks in a moment.
We need your help so the youth of our community can develop advanced leadership skills. We need your help giving high school administrators and coaches the instruction and insight they need to be better role models and teachers. To learn more or to make a tax-deductible contribution, go to IHSAAFoundation.org. You'll not only be contributing to the foundation of the IHSAA, you'll be contributing to the foundation of our community.
Time to put a button on this game. Craig, what are your thoughts as we see the two teams exchanging sportsmanship?
Well, it's great to see that, obviously, at the close of any game and coming together after competition's over. But I'll tell you, as I just mentioned, I think it's one that Covenant certainly let slip away. But I think the other side of that is I think Heritage took advantage of the situational opportunities that were given to them, and sometimes you got to win that way. I'm not going to say that it was an ugly win by any means, but sometimes they're not always the prettiest, and that's the ones that you got to be able to grind out and pull out and win as they both head to the latter part of the seasons.
It's been a pleasure. And a good demonstration of the Christian faith with prayer afterwards between the two schools. Once again, the final from Zionsville, Heritage Christian 28, Covenant Christian 24. So on from IndianaSRN.
Thank you.